Well, well, well. You wanted the best. You got the best. The hottest man and woman in the land. Mike and Destiny. This is Say Something. And my God, man, we have got something to say tonight. Big shoe. Big show, whatever they want to call it. That's a little toss back to the 50s there. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Good to have you guys. Could be a lot of debate as we're going to talk a little bit about content creation, and it's going to get a little bit deeper than that. So probably going to be some arguments, a little bit of debate, but and also some tactics that people use. That's what I'm interested in. One of the big things I'm interested in, actually. So welcome. This is Say Something Wednesday. I'm Mike. She's Destiny. It is 6 o'clock. Time to get going. So everybody, thank you so much for coming out to another installment of Say Something. Before we get started, I want to remind everybody, as I do each week, that if you're looking to get involved with a group of like-minded people, great group of patriots who put America first, you will not find a better group of people than American Mission. AmericanMission.com. Watch the videos, read the articles, get involved in all of your local, state, and national politics, and then make sure you go to their X page and subscribe. It's a couple bucks, no big deal. It's underneath your couch right now. It is the absolute greatest subscription you can get outside my home. And love the people, Justin and well, you know what? No, I don't just call them Justin. That'll be their new name. We'll call Dustin and Jen Justin. That's the new name. Hashtag it. And what the that's going to be terrible. Somebody, if she pops in, somebody call her that. But speaking of worldwide subscriptions, look, they're available right now worldwide. $1, not 99 cents. Okay, technically you can subscribe right here, right now. Technically it's 99 cents, but it's really $1. But you can join us tonight for our subscriber after space. Anything and everything goes. No topic too big, no subject off limit. Well, technically there is, but you get the point. But join Say Something Lounge tonight immediately after this space for a subscribers only after space. $1. Are you kidding me? It's so easy. Cancel in 30 days. But you won't want to because it's so sexy. You can join the Say Something community as well. Post at the top of my profile. But before I introduce my wonderful, intelligent, superhuman co-host, Destiny Rezendes, go down to the purple pill in the bottom right-hand corner and make sure you repost this room. I want to get some creative people in here and kind of see what their thoughts are on some of this stuff, especially with AI moving forward. I have an interesting take on that, I think. We'll see. But let's get as many people in here as we can. Also, if you have any questions for any of the people upon the stage, make sure to ask that down in the comments. And one of the three of us tonight will read those out loud and give you a little shout out. Right now, though, I want to turn it over to my partner in crime, my co-pilot in chaos, my ride or die remedy, my truth teller in the trenches, my wing woman through the wreckage, the great Destiny. Destiny, you and me. So glad to be Destiny. Destiny. Woo! Did you hear my Des? Were you able to hear my woo? Like a wrestler.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up? Oh, we're not bringing that back, are we?
What's up?
What's up? Terrible. God, it feels awkward just doing it.
What's up? It's great. It's great. I love it.
Well, it's worse when you do it, but yeah,
Well,
what
can I say number one? Hello.
They did have chicks. Didn't they make a chick version of that commercial where all the girls were calling each other?
I hope not.
That's what it sounded like. It's terrible. What's up, Des? What you been up to? What's the latest? What's the word on the street?
The word on the street is Destiny's Sleeping Beauty. I slept 15 hours. I literally woke up maybe 40 minutes ago. I'm not even kidding. I don't know if I'm sick or something, but like my body was just like, no, a coma it is. So I'm recovering from a light coma. And I'm doing well. I don't know what year it is. I'm pretty sure it's 2027, but Here we go.
It's 2020. We have this weird thing called COVID that just came out.
What's COVID?
You just get your shot. We'll talk about it after you get it.
I have to get a shot. Sign me up. I'm sure it's good.
Just 2 of them. It's like, it's not both of them now, though. It's good news. It's one now. And then you don't have to get one for like a few months. It's fine.
And how long do I have to do that for? Like a year?
Well, hopefully they're going to have some boosters. I mean, I don't want to just get a shot and then like not follow up with my healthcare.
Yeah, no. I definitely want to get all of the boosters too. That's something.
All the boosters.
I'm sure this COVID thing you're talking about sounds
COVID.
horrible.
I believe
that sounds scary.
I believe, it's COVID. I believe is the way they pronounce it.
That's terrible.
COVID. Yeah.
Like morbid.
That's scary.
Oh, I don't like that.
But that's why we get the shots, right?
That's why we get the shots.
So it doesn't become morbid.
I got it.
COVID,
so I could just go to like my pharmacy. I'm sure would have it, right? Walgreens.
Do this, Des. Here's what I want you to do. Just go do a little bit, since it just started, go do a little research into COVID.
They have drive-through shots.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Right in, girl.
Great, because I was driving to go to the Peter
with
Hotez symposium to go listen to him talk, so I could just get on the way.
It's totes convenient.
Just get with Dr. Cat, and then y'all try to learn a little bit about this whole MARN or M.
Ooh, that sounds fancy.
I don't know. It's brand new.
NASA. No.
Now that's a space place.
That sounds good too, Bill. That sounds good too.
Yeah. Yeah. So just do some research into it. I'm sure
you're vaccinated, right, Mike? Like, right? You're not going to spread this to me over the airwaves. Okay. It's scary here.
I had him vaccinate. I had him vaccinate both arms just so it like works its way to the middle.
Smart. That's smart. And you get it 50-50. I like that. That's good.
Hello.
You're so smart, Mike.
I know a little bit about medicine.
So glad I came out of this coma and you're here to instruct me. Thank God.
Speaking of content creation, maybe we could make some videos about how great this thing is going to be. This whole MR thing in a package or whatever it's called. I don't know.
Well, I am a fan. I am a big fan.
I knew you would be, because you should start doing like research. That ought to be like your thing, research. You should look into it.
I don't know, dude. I never liked research.
Just do it, okay? Just give me credit and do it. Destiny's going to do research. She's the man, the myth, the kid behind the shades. So
that sounds kind of boring, though. Research, like that's not a way to build a following. Right?
Just as long as when you do research, Des, you don't just start ignoring people in the DMs. Don't get back with them on the day of their show. If you ever do a show with anyone, just stay focused. You'll be fine.
But I think I'll let the people at CNN, the smart people, I think I'll let them
do
the research. I don't think you should do your own research. I think that's a horrible idea.
As long as they don't shut down the schools. That's really
who do I think I am? Wolf Blitzer? Okay, come on now.
Correct. Wolf Blitzer even just coming out the tongue. Yes. Freaking Nazi. Anyway, well, it's always good to see you, Des. I love talking to you. We talk. We play like that. This is the only time we ever talk, but it's not. I mean, I can't get a hold of her.
Well, since the coma. Since like 7 years ago. Yeah, since 7 years ago. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Did you get any taller?
I got prettier.
Hey, that works.
Good luck to you.
That works. Oh, no, I haven't looked in a mirror yet. I'm afraid. So we're just going to pretend.
Well, I'm sure you got pretty.
Like I don't exist.
I'm not going to have, I'm a very unshallow person. I'm not going to have people that are co-hosts that are not pretty. So
that's right. You are shallow. Thank God.
Thank you very much.
Pretty. Oh, thank goodness.
Speaking of
the shallow prettiness.
Speaking of the third pretty person on the stage here, joining us tonight, she's not just savvy. She's politically savvy. She is my cuz, my blood, also known as Heather's best friend in certain neighborhoods. The one and only Tiffany Savage.
Hello, everybody. Hey, Destiny. What's up, cuz? Thank you so much for somewhat asking me to co-host, kind of, sort of.
Kind of did.
So I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm excited.
Absolutely. It's good to have you. So we're going to be...
Destiny, real quick. Hold on, Mike.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Girl, the bridesmaid's dress, flames. You looked so freaking pretty. I was like, oh, yep, there she is. You look gorgeous.
Thank you. It was a beautiful wedding. Like I love weddings now. I'm like, everyone go get married so I can come to your wedding, because it was off the chain. Like I should have known my best friend was going to have the best wedding, but it was magical. It was wonderful. It was very classy and very, very fun. There's modern things they're doing now at these weddings. Like there was this QR code on all of our little dinner tables. And if you scanned it, your phone all the cameras you take there went into a group album, so everybody got different perspectives of the pictures. I was like, that is so cool. So
I
cool.
like that idea.
Me too. I'm like, this is taking notes and stuff. I'm like, okay, so you do this. It was great. It was wonderful.
Good. Well, you looked beautiful, and of course,
thank you.
Because you always look good.
And all the guys in here are just like,
no, he's so cute. What are y'all even talking about?
Oh my God, let's talk about wedding photos. I want to be as gay as I possibly can right now. Speaking of gay, I see a couple gay friends down there, Chavez and the Joker. Oh my God, they're so here. This is incredible.
I can't believe you just said that.
Stop it.
I meant gayish. Gayish. It's fine.
That's pretty good, Mike.
No homo.
Hashtag a little homo. So you know what? Let's do this. So here's what we're talking about tonight. Before I get to those guys, we're going to start it off. Content, as we have seen, right, it is changing rapidly. And I think we're probably going to have some different opinions. But some of the questions, so here's some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight. Before we get into the main questions, we're going to be talking about a little bit about style identity. Is being a creator a calling, things like that. Also we're going to touch a little bit on AI. And one of my favorite questions is, should AI be allowed to write books, make music and stuff like that? And also, which I'm going to talk to Yvonne about and a couple other people, is AI stealing from us, or are we stealing it from AI? Because everything we're stealing from AI really kind of came from us. So I want to get into that. Also, education and kids. Should kids be learning content creation in school? Because they spend their time swiping up all the time. They absorb and they consume content, right? But think about the kids that if they were taught how to make content, they would find their niche is in life, right? And maybe be able to find a voice that right now I can tell you many of them don't have, because all they do is swipe up. And then lastly, I want to talk a little bit about faith. And does faith-based creators, can they go viral, honestly? And if you monetize that, does it corrupt you? So anyway, just a few topics we're going to be talking about tonight. But before we do that, here's some of the main questions I want to get into. And then I want to go real quick just to a couple people that I'm excited to talk to. Two partners in crime, if I would. I want to know, what is the content saying? What is the purpose of making the content? Is it a message or is it just media? And is it for purpose or is it for popularity? Content or clout, I guess. So what is the content saying? What's the point of it? What is the message? And what is the purpose? Is there a purpose, or can be just, I want to be popular? Is that a purpose? So real quick, I want to go to my boy Chavez first, and then I'm going to go to the Joker. And if you are not following these two cats, right, you are making huge mistakes. Fantastic personalities, both of them decently attractive, right? Not too shabby on the look side. Anyway, they're fantastic people, and I've gotten to know them over the last year or so. And they do more of the live streaming side. So I wanted to kind of just jump into them real quick and ask them. Start with Chavez. Chavez, my man. This guy's a drummer. You can literally get on his live stream. You can watch him play drums. You can donate a little money to the tip jar there, and the cat will play whatever song you want. It's weird. He's got angles, all different kind of angles. Plus, he's a part of a new organization that's kind of starting up a little bit. And so I wanted to check in with Chavez first. First, see how you doing, brother. Good to see you. And we're going to get to all these hands in a minute and call these requests. They're going to be coming up, but I want to get to Chavez. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for having me. Thanks for this space. I haven't jumped into space in a little while. I used to have a heavy presence here, but right off the bat, man, y'all go share the space out, show these people some love. The two co-hosts and Mike, go give them a follow. They definitely deserve it. They do this a good bit, and they work very, very, very hard. Content creation is definitely a very, very difficult thing to maintain and to keep up with amidst maintaining your life outside of it. Yeah, I'll try to keep my answer pretty short. First of all, these topics, everything you just went over, man, oh man, these are really, really good, thought-provoking statements, questions, and thoughts, and everything else. I definitely have a lot to say about it. So I love the deeper level of intellect in this space here, and we got some heavy hitters in here for sure. So let me dive right into it. You know, So just a quick little backstory. I've been streaming for about just over 7 years now, I think, at this point. I'm 40 years of age. I have 2 kids. I have an amazing wife. I'm a business entrepreneur. I'm a leader. I definitely am very much outspoken. And I'm saying that I wanted to open up with that because with all that said, I'm also at the core of who I am. I'm a realist. I'm a realist through and through and through. I will tell you the truth, not my truth or not your truth, but the truth. That's just how I operate. And I'm saying that because I think that the majority of, and I hope this is going to answer your question, but the content creation as we know it today, it's really not content creation. It's non-tent creation. In fact, I can't even say creation because to create something is to be artistic, right? And to be genuine and real. But there's non-tent posers. You remember that word, posers? Yeah, I'm trying to bring that bad boy back. I'm not even kidding.
Poser is a good word to bring back, baby.
Dude, it's real, and it absolutely applies to this day and age. I just got out of an interview not too long. We'll be posting this here soon as far as the video is concerned, about essentially what's happening now is that it's everybody essentially is doing what everybody else is doing, and rinse and repeat. It's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. There's no genuine, authentic, real creativity or art. Or trying to think outside of the box. Furthermore, I'll take that a step further, and this is where I get very, very passionate as a streamer and a content creator in this space, but also as a father and a husband, trying to lead the younger generation and actually set good, solid morals and values and principles to stand upon, to contribute to society instead of taking away from it. The majority of non-tent posers, right? There's the term. The majority of them are non-contributing takers. They don't inspire deep thought. They don't have an original idea. And all they're trying to do is one-up each other and to maintain what I like to call the shock and awe factor. In other words, how far can I go to get likes, to get subscriptions, to get follows, to get reposts and all that stuff, whatever the case may be. And you see it on Twitter Spaces too. It's not quite as prevalent just because it's more of like audio, right? It's not necessarily video and audio, but I am doing my best to combat that and to defend anything and everything that I can do in that way. So all I'm getting at is if I had to, long answer long, I would probably say roughly 90% of the non-tent posers out there are absolutely doing it for clout, for traction. They're opportunists, they're snakes, they're manipulators. And what's worse is that the generation even younger than them is looking up to that as a so-called standard and what it takes to be, quote, successful, which money is not a level of success. Let me just be very clear about that. But it's absolutely setting a bad example, and it's just rinse and repeat. And if this isn't taken care of now, it's just going to be a downward spiral for the rest of the people to come. So that is my opening and yet closing statements as it pertains to that specifically. I hope that answers your question.
Salvo has been fired. It has been launched. I like it. No, brother, I agree with you. I think that, and Des, it kind of made me what Chavez was just talking about, is that I saw an interview with your boy, Ian, right? And Ian, look, we may not always agree politically and everything, but I think Ian is one of the coolest cats on X. I like the way, even if we disagree with each other, I love the way that he handles it. And Daz, I don't know if you saw this interview, but he was talking about the story about why he uses his whole hand.
No, I didn't see this.
You know how Ian, and you'll see other influencers,
but I know
right?
he uses his whole hand when he's talking and stuff. Why?
Well, because he said when he would use one finger, you know how he does, his is kind of that jittery kind of background, right? And his green screen is not the best, but because he goes for more of the content than the perfection of the video, which studies have shown that most people don't care that much about perfection. Most people would rather get the information, anyway. But when he points, that Ian always points to what he's talking about in the screen behind him, right?
Yeah.
And so, Chavez, this kind of goes what you were saying about how people kind of copy and replicate. Ian decided to use his whole hand because one finger, when he used one finger, it would get caught up in the background and it would look like he had no fingers.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so he uses his whole hand, so it keeps his whole hand together. And that's the reason you do it. But then you see people on perfect videos that are using their whole hand because that's what Ian did. So you're right. It does. And we are trendy, right? We are trendy people and we can't beat ourselves up too much for that. But there's got to be some way, Chavez, just want to come back to you real fast, is there's got to be some way that we can, you know, whether it be consume something, but we should be demanding something different, right?
Well, you know, yes, that is correct. We should be. The greater problem here is that all of the things we just briefly discussed already is absolutely a symptom of a greater problem. Because for the same reason, let me just go straight to a very divisive topic. For the same reason that pornography is such an issue right now, I wish so bad that women would stop supplying it, and I wish so bad that men would stop demanding it. Right? There's a great balance there, but my point is that it's a cultural and societal standard that should absolutely be maintained. But I'll take that a step further, not just maintained, but the bar needs to be raised. We need to have a new standard of decency, respect, humility, servanthood, and all these good things that actually make a human being a genuine good person, which I know is a subjective point of view. Right? Good is, you know, based upon the eyes of the beholder. I get that. But I'll tell you right now, and I see my boy Joker in there, man. We talk about this all the time. And especially in this space, I have a new, it's so funny because ironically enough, here's this character as Joker, and yet I saw this, I got a really good idea from the movie The Dark Knight, in which Harvey Dent, before he turns into Two-Face, basically talks about the decency of humankind. And he talks about essentially that you live long enough to become the villain or you die a martyr. And in this industry, and this isn't every streamer, I'm just generalizing this for the majority, not all, to be very, very clear. But the issue is that we have a decision to make as streamers and content creators every single day to do what is right and do what is easy, or to do what is easy, right? So to do what is easy is to sell your soul, be a part of the problem, be a delinquent, be a degenerate, get your likes, get your follows, be a part of the in crowd, be a part of the cool kids club, do whatever you have to do to climb that ladder, or to do what is right, which is what me and many, many others are trying to do. We are at a major disadvantage trying to do the right thing. I don't view bot. I don't do any of those things. I try to preach good morals and principles and values. At this point now, and this will be my last statement, at this point now, if you are not contributing to society to some degree, encouraging thought-provoking, deep intellectual thoughts, encouraging people, motivating people, helping people, and that can come in different forms. But if you are not doing any of those things, you are officially, in my opinion, a part of the problem, and you're just adding noise to the pre-existing song that's being sung out of tune right now. So there you go. I'm done.
I like it. I think that, I mean, the deep intellectual, it could be deep intellectual stimulation. Joker, I'm coming to you, brother. The deep intellectual stimulation can be a variety of facets, right? Things that we're interested in. And I can tell you, and again, if you're not following Chavez and Joker, you need to do that right now. So the other day, and you, Chavez, you know this as well as anyone, I went over to watching one of Joker's streams. And like, it's one of the most chaotic, crazy, flamboyant. Oh my God! I kept trying to think. It's the most
call
outrageous.
It what it is, Michael. Call it what it is. Sweetie.
It's one of the craziest, most outrageous live streams I've ever seen. It is so freaking wild. It's almost like on XSpaces. The only thing I could compare it to on XSpaces would be Reptile Hybrids, one of his spaces. Right? It's like that, and it is so you can't freaking look away from what it is. Joker, my man, welcome to the stage, brother. Tell me if I got it right. Tell me if I got it wrong, or did I get a little bit of both, or what?
Oh man, yeah, man. No, you give me too much credit, brother. No, thank you. I appreciate that. That really warm welcome. Hello, everybody in the space. Happy you guys are here to share this time with us. This is a very, very, very important topic. So there's a reason why my show is designed the way that it is. Because guess what? The human attention span requires that level of stimulation. That's why you can't look away, because it's designed in a way to kind of cater to today's like social media presence. People, if you don't do things that are like stimulating for anyone, what happens is you lose the attention of anyone in the space. And I, I'm a psychologist in my real life. So I took a lot of, and I'm a human behavior psychologist. So I do like, experimental kind of stuff. And I write articles and shit. And I have peer reviewed stuff. Like I'm that guy. And I took all that like knowledge and all that expertise that I have, and I applied it here, and it worked like a charm. But it's based upon the expectation of stimulation. We as humans require to be stimulated all the time. We need it now. We want it now. We want it big. We want to see it fucking flourish. We want to see the fight. We want to see Donald Trump fucking go out there and fucking wreck some shit. We want to see Elon Musk with a fucking chainsaw, like that's the type of shit that humans want. And unfortunately, that doesn't correlate to like deep thought and objective thought. And that's why I like Rumble so much, because Rumble has a very older, like an older audience, but they're also so fucking drunk on the internet. Like they love the internet so fucking much that like they even need to be stimulated in a way, right? So I often get criticism of like, yo, dude, you're doing this fucking, you're a fucking virgin. You're this, you're that. It's like, dude, do you not understand? I want you to bully me. I want you to say the thing, because that makes me more relevant and my business thrive. And in between of everything, right? Like how Chavez was saying, we need to be more role model-like. I inject messages of fucking intellect. I say shit like, yo, the fucking deficit sucks dick. We got to do something about that. Or, yo, maybe we shouldn't do so much AI stuff because you're going to use that as a crutch and you can become a fucking retard. Like, that's the kind of things that like I put in front of my audience to like really give them like a heads up of what real life is. And I have to pair it in a way that it's accepted by the human brain. Because if not, they're going to get bored. They're going to be like, yo, why am I even here? Like, I'm not getting stimulated. I want to go watch, I don't know, fucking Amaranth on Kick because she got a pair of tits. Like, because they get stimulated from that shit. No, I want them on my show so I can help them, right? And yeah, right now I'm doing some degen shit with Iggy Azalea's team and all that, right? And all that is done, I own it. It is what it is, man. It's the business. I'm trying to help Rumble expand. Because guess what? These motherfucking degens that are out here, guess what? Who are going to be on the fucking, like, in the world, like influencing people? They are, right? More and more, as I am operating in this space, I'm noticing that it's prevalent, at least in the social media space, that there's a lot of degens and they're in positions of influence. So if you don't fucking join that whole shit and you try to better it from within, they're in control. So we might as well be part of that conversation too. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with Chavez, man. There's a lot of self-serving motherfuckers in this industry. A lot of people don't give a fuck about you or your kids or how the world's gonna operate. You know what they care about? The drama, to fucking control you. And if they can't, they slander your ass. Any chance they get. It's a fucking dog-eat-dog world in this motherfucker. And I've been in this bitch for 10 years. And I'll tell you what, these motherfuckers out here, they don't care. If they see you rise, they're going to go ahead and try to take that food off of your table because they're trying to eat too. And they've done it time and time again, not only to myself, not only to Chavez, but to a lot of people I fucking know in this industry. And kids don't belong in this industry because they're going to get bullied. They're going to get cyber bullied. They're going to have their self-worth all in the internet. And the second these motherfuckers start saying shit on Twitter, these kids are going to get emotionally impacted. And they're not prepared for that. I guarantee it.
Joker, let me ask you this. So let me push back on that last part there. And by the way, see, that's who Joker is. That's who he is. And there's one thing I will say about content creation. Once you get past that barrier of being able to be who you are, out there, like putting yourself out there. It's a very freeing thing to be able to talk about what you want to talk about it, how you want to talk about it, and to be able to pursue the things that you want to pursue. It's a very freeing thing to be able to do that. And I've just kind of recently been able to kind of get into that groove myself, where I've figured, what, I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about. I'm going to talk about how I want to talk about it. And that's what I always admired about Chavez and Joker, is that they do it the way that they want to do it. But what I wanted to push back on, Joker, and tell me if I'm misreading this. See, I see kids in school every day, and maybe from a psychologist's point of view, this might jive with some of the things you're thinking. These kids right now can't speak. And so I'm wondering, because they could tilt either way, maybe are they on a line that I would say they need to learn how to speak on camera, learn how to get their voice, find their voice, find who they are, be able to speak it out loud, to be able to verbalize it to other people. It's kind of like if you're writing a story, it's very difficult to explain that story to other people, because the moment that you do, they're going to look at you like, I don't really get it. But that's you. That's your art. That's you, right? And if they do that, that means that, quote, they're rejecting you, which is for all of us, right? We all go through that. We could draw something on a piece of paper, show it to our parents today, be 40 years old, and still look for that feedback from them. So I'm wondering, Joe, do you think would it be good to push them to find a voice, or is it something they should stay away of because this generation is too far gone to be able to overcome that kind of stuff?
The social dynamic is shattered. Let's just call it for what it is.
COVID 2020, is that you think it has roots back in that?
Not just this. There's a pandemic of a reliance on acceptance in social media. We, as human beings, are supposed to be social creatures where we interact with one another face to face. We quite literally, as millennials, Gen X, and even baby boomers, are essentially, well, actually more us like millennials and Gen X. We know the best of both worlds. We're in a very unique position because we grew up, in the skate park. We grew up playing fucking, throwing it's called suicide, the game. You throw a tennis ball across to
yeah.
Yeah, we grew up playing that. Bloody Knuckles in high school, we grew up actually interacting, right, with our peers. We used, fucking Nintendo 64 to play GoldenEye, with our friends. I'm going to go over to my friend's house, right? What broke the dynamic or the social structure between humans is the ability to interact on the internet, okay? What that does is it isolates us to screens, not facial interactions, not eye-to-eye contact, not even physical contact. But we're now isolated to these screens. So those that are now born with these tablets and whatever, stuff, and they're like, so because now they get the immediate interaction with somebody on the internet, but it does not develop them as a social creature as was intended for humanity. So we are losing so much there. Now, do I think a person who is developing, in school, it should have some form of a interaction with the internet? I mean, it has to be heavily monitored by a parent, which, by the way, I can tell you from my understanding of what humanity is doing, a lot of these parents just, they have that tablet babysitter, right? Which they don't know. They don't know what these kids are doing. So, and that's a whole pandemic in its own, because these kids are consuming. Like I remember a time like there was like the I forget what the overseer of television that you can't have subliminal messaging, right? That shit's all over the fucking internet. That's not it's so unregulated. So we're in a situation that, okay, if we want our kids to even have any kind of interaction with these machines, not only will they, not have that face to face, not only are parents not going to monitor them. But there's also the third part of that, which is these social media companies make this so this way it increases the users' retention on the platforms. So they're going to feel more compelled and more rewarded for stuff that might hurt them. Unregulated. It's a pandemic. And
so you're saying that these little rings that they get for like walking and these little awards that they get for logging in, you're saying that those are not real awards to strive for? Like, what are you talking about, bro?
They don't know the difference.
They do not know the difference.
You know?
That's a good point.
Yeah, they have no idea. They're barely discovering themselves. So, look, I'm all for social media as a way to like build your business and get involved in certain things that might, like for example, this Twitter space, right? We're influencing people, we're sharing knowledge, and we're able to identify certain pitfalls that humanity is falling into. But what the fuck can we do about it? You know what I'm saying? The guy that literally is supposed to be the solution space of all the government spending and everything like that owns this platform that literally is designed to suck you in. So, we're kind of on the back foot is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It does make sense. I don't think there's any way to go back.
And AI is going to make it worse, man. AI is going to make it worse. Of course. There's no doubt about that. AI is going to change everything, and the fact that people, school teachers, everybody is not accepting that is ridiculous. You're never going to have to write another essay in your life. Let me just speak to that real quick. So I'm going to quote Elon, and I'm going to speak to that about the teacher stuff. Okay. So Elon Musk said that human intelligence is going to be a small part of overall intelligence, which means that our brains, the very thing that makes humanity unique in the world and powerful in the world, will no longer be dominant within our life within the next, like, say 15 years, maybe less, now that we've developed quantum computing, right? So that's the first part of it. Just so you know, we are not going to be the dominant here. Machines and AI will, okay? I mean, you got Grok, you got ChatGPT, and that is way smarter than any human being I've ever fucking spoken to because it knows everything, right? So that's the first thing. Second thing, X is a data farm. It is learning constantly. That's why XAI, or I think it's XAI, acquired X, because we are a data farm. So that's number two. Number three, in terms of schooling, okay, I actually teach graduate students. And well, they are even using ChatGPT. And we are trying to figure out policy to kind of like go around that, which is really difficult. And these are graduate students trying to get masters and PhDs. So that the future is looking really weird for even.
Let me ask one quick question. And I'm going to let Chavez jump back in, and then I want to go. And I know, Shane, I think you're running low on time, so I'm going to come to you real quick, and then I'm going to hit Moneypenny right after that. So deal with the same thing, right, with ChatGPT and things like that at school. So I kind of reversed it, and I looked at the way that the structure is of the schools. Like, for instance, you read something, right, and then they say, well, here's a prompt. Write an essay based on that prompt. So what I started doing in my class with certain classes, here's an essay. Write the prompt that produces that essay, right? And that essay and that prompt sometimes is longer than the essay because you have to know the essay so well and the structure of it so well. Like, here's the transit, it's 4 paragraphs. Oftentimes, one reason, another reason, so as you can see, you have to have your transition words. You've got to have support in each paragraph. You've got to have 2 examples in your, up in your, in your opening paragraph. Your thesis has to include what it's going to be about. There needs to be a reason in each paragraph why, and then you need to restate the thesis down in your closing. And so you have all these things that you have to do, right? To be able to command it to do that requires a precise understanding of the essay in order to get it to command it to do it. It's backwards. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that the schools are going to have to look at the essay writing is dead from now on. Essay writing will be either you tweak what AI wrote, and AI is getting it from humanity anyway, right? Or AI will tweak what you write because you love to write and you want to put your original thought out there. But that's the only options that are going to be available. It is going to be one of those two. So reading something to write an essay doesn't make any sense because the essay is only trying to show that you understand what you just read. But what is the real true meaning of understanding what you've read? Or are you trying to understand what you're writing? Anyway, so it's a long time. I don't want to get off on school teachers because, but yeah.
Right. But go. I don't want to take too much time. So I think somebody was going to leave that you said you wanted to get to.
Yeah, let me just get Shane in here real quick, Chavez, and I'm going to come to you. Shane, I just wanted to jump in there, brother. How you doing?
No, I'm good on time, but my 18-year-old kid, Gen Z's here chiming in as well.
Let's go.
Josiah, can you guys hear him? Go ahead.
Yeah, so something he was talking about a lot is the access to internet and all this online stuff. How it is very unregulated, and that alone is really dangerous with all that content that people can be exposed to. I speaking from my own experience, I definitely got into places on the internet that I really would not have ever gotten to, I don't think, for a long time, if I hadn't had internet access, which, there's pros and cons to it, learning what to look out for. That's something I got from that, but it definitely was something that I don't think any kid should have to go through. But another thing that a lot of people neglect about devices and the internet and all that, it's designed to overload your dopamine receptors and to basically, it creates addiction. That's a real thing. People talk about addiction to being online, and a lot of people don't take it seriously because it's not as seriously as oh, I'm addicted to this drug or that drug, because those are really strong on dopamine receptors. But this also causes serious issues with those. And it's especially prevalent in people with ADHD. I have ADHD, and I struggle a lot with online stuff because it sucks you in. It gives you that dopamine release, which is already really hard for people with ADHD to regulate. But even for people without it, it creates this. The only thing I can equate it to is like a disease that basically wears down on your dopamine receptors and makes you basically have to go online to get any form of dopamine. So you're just sitting there scrolling for hours for the tiniest hint of it, and it's very hard to break out of. So that's another thing that people should keep an eye out for. If you're
Can I ask you a quick question?
Mm-hmm.
When you and as someone, I didn't start taking ADD medicine until I started teaching, because I didn't realize it. They told me all my life it was chocolate and blah, blah, blah. So I've recently come off of it. And I can tell you that it has been a difficult thing because there's a shortage of the medicine around the nation, right? With the shortage of workers. And, first it was Adderall, and then Vyvanse went out. And then so it just really hit a lot of people, if you could, because you'd have to call pharmacies to find that they had them. And so a lot of people have actually got off of it. I don't know if I'd go back on it because it's been over a year now since I've taken it. My mind is not as clear as it was. But I wanted to ask you, because the schools, or because the internet sucks you in, right? And we talk about the things that Facebook does and things that Instagram does. They go to these dopamine hits, right? They try to attract you. But was TV not the gateway drug for that, right? Because they show the pizzas, right, during the football games. They show the pharmaceutical commercials to the people that are in their 60s, and they play the song jingles from the 70s to hit that dopamine, to hit that receptor that says, oh my God, that's that song I grew up on. It's okay to take Ozempic, right? And so isn't that what every marketing person does, is they try to hit us at our most vulnerable to try to suck us in? And is the internet any different than that?
Just real quick, so he's not on any kind of medication. He's got parents that don't really, go that route. The teachers tell him, he's, I guess, got ADD. But I mean, he's an
the teachers tell everybody they have ADD, that they all have allergies, that they all. I mean,
Exactly.
It's a money. It's a great gig.
Time with me since he was 17, and he does school, and he gets good grades. So, but go ahead, Josiah. What?
Yeah, so as far as that marketing thing, I definitely think it's targeted at that. I don't think most marketing teams go as far as like we need to hit their dopamine receptors and get them, addicted to this, because at the end of the day, they're just building on the marketing strategies that have been used for centuries, advertisements in the paper, signs, something as simple as like having a sign outside your store with like a bright splash of paint on it. Things like that get built upon for this, and uh, we know now why they were so effective and why they've been built up so much. It's because of that dopamine release. So it's not a matter of them targeting that specifically, but it's more like what they're targeting indirectly affects that in a way, and those two are kind of intertwined and can't really be separated.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that they think we're all vulnerable because we've all looked at our phones and realized how did this ad just pop up on my phone? Well, because it's listening, it knows what we want, and it knows that it's attracting us, right? It attracts us. We're all, I mean, Amazon is the internet. We now get packages every day. We are frustrated if we can't get it now delivered the same day, when just several years ago, we used to take pride on the fact that we could get it delivered in 2 days. 2 days. And now if we look at it as like delivery tomorrow, what? Tomorrow? You said if I ordered it within the next hour, get it today. And you order it within 5 minutes, and all of a sudden it's tomorrow. And it's literally like everything just crumbled because of that lack of patience, that need it now type view. And I think content creation, I don't think content creation and the internet, I just don't think it's that much different than any kind of advertising and marketing that's trying to get us and using the most vulnerable points of who we are in order to do it. Facebook now knows, look, if you're on Facebook now, you know it's because you're keeping track with your parents and you're talking to some of your older friends and you just kind of check up on their families and their kids. That's what Facebook's become. Instagram's the picture and X is the news. And most of us, the first thing we do when we get up, and most of y'all would admit this, hopefully, the first thing you do when you get up, you go to the freaking bathroom, you open up your freaking phone, you look and see what happened on X and how many notifications you got. I mean, I don't do that. Yeah, you do. Shut up. No, I wasn't talking to you. I wasn't talking to Josiah with that one. Shane kicked my ass if I was talking to his kid like that. No, I meant.
I wouldn't. He's actually over here laughing. He's agreeing with you.
So anyway, I think that, I think it's an interesting deal how we're being manipulated, but somehow we're okay with it in the back of our minds a little bit. And yet we rail against it as we order on Amazon. So I just think it's a peculiar position to be in right now. Josiah, did you want to make another comment? If not, I'll go ahead and I'll move on to some other hands. But I appreciate you you being here, though, brother.
Thanks for letting me come up. I don't have too much left to say, but I'm glad I got to kind of weigh in and got to converse with you guys.
Oh no, it was great, bro. It was great to hear from you because literally,
he sounds just like his dad. I couldn't either.
Difference. I couldn't either.
A little Shane.
We got another Shane in this world. That's a good thing.
Yeah, this kid's sharp. He's way smarter than me. But thanks for that, Destiny.
That's awesome.
Like, you guys really sound like you don't need a paternity test. I could tell that's your son. Like, you sound the same. I love that.
His name's not Shane, is it? Please, God, no. Because then that would be from maybe it's from a different movie. Who knows?
No, I'm
Sean.
That would never name my kid after me out of fear that he'd end up like me. So that's always been my policy.
Joke's on you. They always end up like you.
I don't know. I speed. He doesn't. I'm crazy. He's not. So I don't know about that, Destiny. I might push back.
It takes some time. Okay. You got to like ruminate in the crazy. I could have sworn till at least 23, I was nothing like my mother. And then ever since I'm like, I'm my mom. I'm my mom. Shit.
That's how it works. It's always worked like that. It always will work like that. But Shane, tell Josiah, I appreciate him coming up. It's fantastic to have his point of view from the trenches of the internet and the addictive world. That was awesome.
Mike, can I interrupt
Absolutely,
real quick?
What's up?
American Mission actually put something in the Purple Pill that I agree with. They said a relative topic, YouTube Kids, and then they linked a thread reader. YouTube kids grooming, Twitter thread or X thread illustrating what a child is exposed to when signing up to a children's account on YouTube. So I don't know if you want to kind of look into that, but I mean, that's a very real thing that's happening. And it's not just on YouTube either. I mean, you've got roadblocks. You've got BX on X who's exposing the 764 satanic pedophile ring that's happening in the United States, in Canada, and they're able to prey on these kids on these social media platforms, on gaming platforms. And really, I mean, it's disturbing. I will say that BX was featured, her work was featured on a documentary. And at one point I had to pause it because I was sick, like physically ill, throwing up, about what they were discussing, some of the footage they were showing. Of course, a lot of it was blurred out, but the audio wasn't. But I do agree with American Mission. This is a very, very relative topic to our conversation.
See, I would be interested to find out, Savvy, and then Chavez, I'm going to let you respond to what Joker and Shane were talking about. And then I got Money Penny next, just had her hand up. Money Penny, always good to see you. Always good when she's in our space. Love Money Penny. If you're not following Money, give her a follow. She is fantastic. Great insight. Great insight. I'm coming to you.
Thank you.
I'm coming to you right away. I promise you. Hang on 1 second. I can't wait to talk to you. It's been a while. I just want to ask you, Savvy, real fast, and may want to chime on that if she gets a chance later. Is there something to, like, being around something that seems like it's productive? Is it good to consume that kind of social media even when it makes you feel like that?
So I am a parent above all else. And I forget who it was, whether it was Joker or Chavez that was, mentioning the parental tablet, basically, that people are just like, they forget what they have signed up for when they have children to be a parent. My daughter, 13 years old, and I am a very proud parent, and being a mom is my greatest accomplishment in life. I'm a damn good one too. But since she was able to comprehend, I have ingrained in her, don't expect any privacy while you're under my roof, period. End of story. But with apps, and she's not on social media, but I've given her the choice to help teach her a lesson. But she's not on social media. I gave her a challenge when she started kindergarten. I'm like, this is going to come up. And I've reminded her every year. I was like, if you stay off of social media until you graduate high school, your college is paid for. You don't have to work. But the second you decide that you want to get on Instagram or whatever, that's done. It's gone. You've got to work your way through college. It is absolutely gone. But again, I am that parent that above all else, I will protect my child, and I will have these conversations similar to what we're having here, about, because she is a girl too. And girls, we're tough on ourselves, and high school, middle school, whatever is extremely difficult. I don't want her to go ahead and start doubting herself and her self-image and comparing herself to others, knowing, because I guess I would fall into the stupid label of an influencer box, knowing what that world looks like, knowing that people only share, fake bullshit or what they want people to see. They don't pull that curtain back. But I have those conversations with her, and to educate, and I will go dark with her to let her know, hey, this is actually a real issue that we're having. So as far as entertainment, like, we didn't have that growing up. My daughter still goes outside and builds tree houses by herself, but this is when I think it's important. We are in a different world than when we grew up, the way our parents parented us. We've got to change, and people need to be real and honest with their kids once they reach a certain age. Hey, this is a problem and this is real.
But Savvy,
let
me ask something, because a point you just made, like without sounding like the whole, how people have always told us when we were growing up back in my day, right? And it's different now, though, right? This is not the back in my day story, like that our grandparents and great-grandparents and they all said, because it was like back in my day, that was just the thing that you said, right? A 55-year-old guy back in 1980 looked like the dude was 85 now, right?
Right.
And so back in my day, that's not really the story. The thing is it was fundamental. You can ask the kids today, do you like today's music or do you like other music? They're like the 80s music is so much better. 80s and 90s music is so much better than today's music, right?
Yeah.
But that's pretty clear. Like you could listen to today's music and realize that most of it is not as good as those kind of sounds, But it's different though. It's not back in my day deal. It's literally going outside. We all know that going outside and doing something is positive. We know that that's the right thing to do. So really, is it the content creation or is it the fact that the parents themselves are so lazy?
I think it is the parents. And I will argue, this is one hill I will die on. It is the parents. Parents have forgotten their job. They don't know how to talk to their kids, or they would much rather be friends with their kids instead of being a parent to their kids, which is difficult because, maybe a parent is scared. Oh my gosh, what if they call child, whatever. Like, I don't care what it is, but people have forgotten how to actually parent their children. And they are leaving it up to technology, social media platforms or whatever the technology. Yes, they can be very useful tools, but it is up to the parent to educate that child and not just assume that child is just going, down the letter of the law, that they are straight laced, because those children are curious and they will test boundaries because they want to know that they are protected. But if they don't feel it, that's when they're going to start to act up and you've lost control at that point.
Well, you made me think of a question that I've got for Des. I'm going to ask her in just a minute. I'm going to get a couple of these hands real quick. And then Des, I'm coming to you with a question that I'll be very interested to see how you answer it. So that, kids, is what we call a cliffhanger. Chavez, go ahead, jump in there. And then we're going back to, Money Penny. I'm going to give her a little special introduction before we do that. So what's up?
Yeah. So, man, there's so many good points, so many things I want to comment on. I'm going to be as quick as I can because I know Money's been very, very patient, and I absolutely adore this woman, by the way. Y'all definitely go give her a follow. She's amazing. Very, very smart and logical for sure. All right, I'm gonna be as quick as I can. So in no particular order, in regards to not even just kids, but people, humans. In this day and age, I feel like we react way too much and reflect way too little. In other words, feelings and emotions, I feel definitely feelings and emotions overrule logic and reason in today's society and culture, as opposed to actually applying any critical thinking skills of any kind to work through a problem or issue. We have low impulse control, and we have high emotional responses for sure. And I think that's very sad. And that can point to many, many, many different things. But one thing I definitely always come back to, and I absolutely believe and support Savvy in this answer, is the parents. The parents. Now, let me just sidestep real quick. And a lot of people by default blame the parents, but they don't fully understand what that means. And for more so, the people who usually blame the parents don't even have kids of their own, so they can just shut the hell up and move aside. Let's be real, right? But one thing about the parents is, we have broken homes, and I'm going to mainly kind of focus on the nation, just America, because we really are one of the kings and queens of entertainment. We really, truly are. We set those standards. In this case, they're bad standards. But I definitely think that far too many parents don't take responsibility for their own children. We've heard from many parents that they don't want to impose their views and beliefs on their kids or let them choose or whatever the case may be. And I challenge that by saying, well, somebody's going to, like what, the government, universities, friends, teachers, and people they look up to and admire. I mean, it might as well be you. It's going to happen inevitably, right? So hopefully you can instill, back to what I was saying before, hopefully you can instill those good quality morals, values, and principles, show respect. I as a father, I absolutely believe and fully support in a healthy fear to my children. Oh crap, if I mess this up, daddy's going to do this, daddy's going to do that. You better believe it. Absolutely, 110%, the Bible teaches us to not spare the rod of discipline. I firmly believe that 110%. I think it takes one man and one woman in a healthy marriage, or at least, if anything, trying to progress and move forward to instill that beautiful balance of, nurturing. And I'm just again kind of generalizing this, nurturing side from a mother, and then the kind of the grit side from the father in that way. And the other thing I was going to say, kind of coming back to one of your first initial questions, is, and we'll dive a little bit more into AI a little bit later, but Mike, you asked a really, really inspiring, thought-provoking question, which is talking about, I'm kind of paraphrasing this, but like kids who essentially don't talk anymore. They're on their phones all the time, content creation, and maybe that should be taught in schools, right? That is a very, very good question. And, after thinking about that and listening to what other people say, I understand the intent. I understand the idea. I think it's clever and unique. However, this is just the father in me speaking. I would actually have to say no. I would have to say no, at least currently, because the reason why, and this will be my last point, the reason why I believe is by law here in the States, you're considered an adult 18. I don't know about you guys, but that ain't true. That's just a freaking number. Age has nothing to do with maturity. I think an actual adult is really closer to like 25, if anything. Okay. Now I know that's subjective, that's opinion based or whatever. We don't need to break that down. But what I'm getting at though, is that bottom line, if proper standards are set in the home to begin with, we won't have these issues in the classroom where they're constantly looking at their phone. It all starts with the home, and that's kind of my point in saying so. So with that, I digress. And Money, so good to see you again, my dear.
Great points, brother. Yeah, Money. Let me say something about Money real quick. But Chavez, and I agree with you, brother. It fundamentally comes down to the family, and I think, look, we can believe what we want to believe, but I do have to say, look, if a parent doesn't want their kids watching Joker's content, then they shouldn't be allowed to watch it. And probably going to make them want to sneak off and watch it in private anyway.
I don't watch it now.
I know, I can't stand it. Are you kidding me?
Listen, my content's good, okay? I got the best stuff around.
All I want to hear is yeah, can't see. I don't watch it.
Wow.
Especially not late at night. You can't do it before you go to sleep. You're just jacked up dreaming about it all night long. So, guys, seriously, go check out Chavez and check out Joker. I'm telling you. But yeah, Moneypenny. Now, for those of you who don't know Moneypenny, let me just say this: finances, she knows it. Writing, she knows it. She's an investigator. She knows things, and she gets very passionate about things, especially when a message that she's trying to get out, she can't get people to understand the things that she's seeing that's coming and that they don't. And it frustrates her a great deal. But the thing that I admire about her most out of all those things is that she is a wonderful dog lover like myself. And she and I have had some long conversations about pups for different reasons. And anyway, I'm a big fan of hers. Welcome to the stage, Moneypenny. How are you?
Thank you. That was probably the last thing I thought you were going to describe me as. This made me laugh. I'm good, thank you. I always do think of the early days. It was just probably 18 months ago when my oldest dog, Senna, was very, very ill. And you and Destiny and a couple of others were giving me hope to keep on, and he did make a bit of a recovery. Then obviously he passed away, and unfortunately his younger best friend passed away very shortly afterwards. I think the second one died of love, just being alone. He couldn't live without Senna, the eldest one that died. So they passed away in quick succession. But as you know, I've got two new little youngsters here. And I think somebody mentioned it about kids. I've never been able to have kids. I never had the choice to have kids. My dogs are my kids. I don't dress them up, though, so don't worry about that. Okay, can I launch a little bit into content creation?
Of course you can.
Wonderful. Okay, because I've made a few notes. I'll try not to be too long. So number one is content creation. You have to do it for you. Don't do it for any other reason. Do it firstly for you. It is a fantastic method of therapy. It is really good no matter what age you are in terms of getting messages out. I have written over 200 songs on Suno. Now, I've never written music in my life. I wouldn't sing for God knows, nobody would want to hear me sing. But I love writing music using the Suno AI app. It helps me in the way I used to write melancholic poetry when I was very depressed. It helps me put things into a context or communicate things that are very difficult to say, but you can get away with it if you put it in music. And that to me is a really good example of AI helping content creation. It's also great for kids because a lot of kids really struggle with being able to say stuff and talk about some of the hard things, but they are great at putting it in lyrics and building music out of it. And they love nothing more than making their own rap tracks and stuff. So if you are a parent and you're listening and you've got a child who maybe seems a little reclusive or depressed or staying in their room too long or staying on their mobile phone, just go and suggest it, because sometimes, it's a very good way of finding out what's in their head. It's a very good way of having something in front of you that communicates much better than any other picture or video or anything else could do. That's good. So I do believe that it is a form of psychotherapy, exploration, growth, education. All of those things come under content creation. I know the two shouty Americans that started the program said nothing is original. I totally disagree. I will claim that because I'm British and I'll get away with it. They don't know where I live, so they can't come and bump me over the head. But I use most of my content creation to explore and educate scientific things. I look at consciousness, I look at the world, I look at reality, I look at where we all came from, I look at cellular reproduction in frogs' legs and regenerating limbs. I'm quite an old person and I use content creation in a different way. Having said that, I do a lot of stupid lip syncing on TikTok because it was part of my challenge to myself on my bucket list when I thought I was not going to make it through COVID. Look, the thing is about content creation, we have to, and I'll throw some questions out there because I'm not going to discuss them because everybody has an answer. First of all, on X, what is going on? X has removed its X TV channel. That was going to be a big outlet for content creation. Where's it gone? Is it coming back? I'd love to know. Content creation on X, there was going to be a massive push on video channels, video spaces, video things. Nobody seems to be using it. I'd love to know what's going on there. And then we go to things like all these communities. They seem to have died a death. Does anybody else think that? Were they there for creative or commercial? I don't know. I'd love all those questions to be looked at. Now, on monetization and rules, there's a new rule that came out just 2 days ago, which is about trying to trash some of the real clout cases that put out one-liners like, "Are you still awake?" And they put it out every night at the same time. And obviously they get 5 million views because they're important people. Now, I'd love to know what is happening with that. I don't quite understand it. So banning of that, what is happening? Social media payments. I gather that some of those people didn't even get paid. Is that correct? Is that a rumor? Is it gossip? I don't know. So fake news, this is the one thing with content creation that is really, really difficult. We've got to find some way of whether or not we accept it, we reward it, we love it. There's a brilliant AI lady that I found on here that does this incredible morphologic stuff. Have a look at my profile under morphology. If you want to see what she does, it is incredible. But do we, for example, all these, Trump playing football, Trump eating McDonald's, Trump doing that, do we applaud it because it's brilliantly creative? Or do we get to a stage where we say, no, that's crossing the line. You've got a picture of Destiny and Mike, both on a horse riding naked through the fields. That's too much. I mean, it probably would be too much.
Hold on.
It?
Whoa. That's not too much. I mean, you ain't got to say it's too much. It's just, are you writing backwards? Stop it. It's just go on.
Can I put that video out there, Mike? Because, I came along and shot some of it for real. But I didn't want to tell everybody, obviously.
Seriously, okay? Yes, you can. It's fine.
So finally, just on content creation. Now, the thing about, do you do it for money? Do you do it for fun? Do you do it for clout? Do you do it because psychologically you want to be loved and you want popularity and attention? It is a horrendously huge thing we could do 22 spaces on. I will say that I started off purely doing it for fun, and I still find it fun, but I'm broke as shit because nobody will employ me because I am disabled, confined to the house, and now everybody needs to be able to walk to get anywhere. So if anyone's got any good jobs going for creative AI researchers who like doing investigation, please let me know. Thank you.
There might just be something out there. You never know. You never know when something's going to pop up. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's a talent. It's a talent. You're as good as anybody out there. So I think that the right people find out about that. You never know what's going to pop up. So especially because you deal in the facts, right? And because we are always dealing with opinion and not facts, that particular set of skills, that might come in handy one of these days. We'll keep
I
our fingers
appreciate
crossed.
you. Thank you very much. And thank you to Destiny and The Real Political.
Yeah, and post that video of Destiny and I riding that horse backwards naked. That would be...
Are you sure? I can write a song about it as well, actually. Humpity hump, 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 hump. Ooh, yeah.
Well, I don't know if it'd be that much, but that's...
You've got
again,
Katie
that's
on stage. You've got a famous singer on stage. Anyway, Katie from the UK, she can write it.
Katie can write it. Katie, you write it. Katie will sing it, and then we'll have the video and be like...
10 subs, and I'll make it happen for sure.
There we
10
go.
subs, y'all sub this man.
Oh my God. We're working on a project right now in real time. That's what I'm talking about. If I can get Joker to scream, all of a sudden we got something. I'll be on that freaking show. I want to ask Coyote something in a minute, but first of all, let me go to my co-host real quick, and then Katie, I'm going to be coming to you. I want to hear what Katie has to having two Brits talk within about 5 minutes. I think it's illegal in Britain. Actually, I think it might actually be illegal in England for that to happen, but to give their opinions back to back, but we'll see. Savvy, jump in there, and then I'll go to Katie.
No. Go to Katie, and then I'll go out after her because mine's a little has to do with this, but you just made a very you made a comment that is something that I deal with every single day that I want to talk about, but please go with Katie first.
Horse riding naked?
Yep, that's
I knew it.
That's
I see. That's how them Georgia girls are, baby. They don't play around. You know what I'm saying?
We don't play.
You do not play unless it's on horses. But we'll get to that.
Right.
Let's go to a fellow Brit of Money Penny. I can't do my freaking. I'd rather do my Irish accent. Sometimes it wouldn't be quite English, but at least I'll be over in the area. So I'd like to welcome Katie to the stage there.
Yeah, just fish paste for you, because I can't afford cucumber sandwiches anymore. You can have fish paste, darling.
And don't be talking to the Irish like that. Now, just because I'm over here in the United States doesn't mean I won't come over there. It'd be like I'm in Dublin in like 5 minutes.
Irish, 33 and a third.
You freaking don't know what you're talking about, you freaking dirty English people. Katie, how are you,
Hello.
Katie?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I hope that you are well also. Miss Money Penny, I have not seen and spoken to you in forever, so it's wonderful to share the stage with you.
Oh, I love you.
Are you okay?
I'm holding up.
Yeah, I will. I
promise.
Oh, gosh, I promise you I will give you a call. I'm about to kind of take a bit of a left turn, but on this topic, in terms of not just kids on social media, but just social media in general. Because content creators, as I kind of do the air quotes here, actually fall under the umbrella of the creative industries. And so the real issue that I personally and professionally believe here with kids and content creators and stuff like this on social media isn't simply just about the tech companies or the platforms that they use or even screen time. Even though screen time plays a massive part, I'm a mum myself, and thank God that my son's iPad broke. That was the biggest blessing from God. I beg to question, is this potentially about the illusion of choice and the deep-rooted corruption within the creative industries? And the reason why I say this is because for decades, the creative industries has disguised exploitation as opportunity, manipulating human attention and identity under the banner of entertainment and self-expression. Long before any of these platforms were even around, it was, the corruption was hidden under that phrase, that's showbiz, and kind of that was the beginning of when like the excuses were made. So the social media is perhaps maybe the latest frontier in a long-standing playbook, and one that conditions young people to seek validation and worth and visibility through performative content rather than genuine connection or creativity. And that in itself is incredibly frightening. So what we're witnessing potentially isn't a technology problem, it's a systemic control crisis, which is engineered by an industry that profits from insecurity, compulsion, and constant surveillance. So I agree with the fact that kids aren't really choosing freely, but instead it's, as a mother myself and somebody that comes from the creative industries, where what I went through and experienced in that, I would not wish even a fraction upon anybody. And the reason why I now fight so heavily against that is that they're being groomed into roles that serve algorithms and marketing pipelines under the guise of self-empowerment. So if we really truly want to protect our children, we have to look beyond the platforms and start confronting the machinery perhaps behind them and the creative economy that's been hijacked to serve commerce over conscience. I hope that makes sense. So yes, tech platforms do have a responsibility, but they're somewhat like the delivery systems, and that the real blueprint was set long before technology even came about. It is the creative industry itself, which has normalized the commodification of image, identity, and emotion for profit. And social media just simply digitized that model and scaled it globally, if that makes sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense. And you know what it made me think of, Katie, back, if you've seen the old videos that came out like in the late 1800s, right, where they're filming, like they're on the streets, right, in the trolley cars and all that kind of stuff, and they're filming these people, and everybody runs to jump to get in front of the camera. And even though they'll never see themselves on it, they have an idea about what it is that's taking place, right? The photos, the cameras, and it's amazing because we've had mirrors, and even mirrors, if you see certain animals get in front of them, it freaks them out to see themselves in the mirror. We, for some reason, are perversely maybe drawn to it, to the point we are fascinated. It never gets old. I would have to say it's probably similar to the idea of sex. Sex literally promotes the species, right? And so it's fundamentally inside of us that never, the concept of it never gets old. And for a long time, it really never gets old, right? And yet seeing ourselves on camera, if all of us right now in the speaker group took a picture, the very first person we look at is ourselves. And then we will look at everybody else, and then we'll see how they look. And then we will compare the way they look to us, and to see if we look good enough to be able to be in that group. Do I fit in this group, or am I the one that looks bad when everybody else looks good? You know, and we're very fascinated with self.
I hear what you're saying, but with these digital platforms like YouTube, for example, or even Roblox, where people can be hidden behind, quote, a character, for example, it's not to say that we can't celebrate creativity, because I hear what you're saying, like when you first see yourself on, oh my gosh, and somebody that has been on camera in front of 18 million people, which is just absurd, let alone on stage. That is one facet of it. But now we're talking about the future of technology and about how one has the ability to recreate themselves either through AI or as a Roblox character, for example. Now, the creative standpoint of that, I don't have an issue with. Let anybody be as creative as they wish to be. What I have an issue with is the exploitation that is skillfully masked as a safe space for people to create and have fun. And so it's almost like the context. So when kids create under a system designed to basically extract attention, like Joker was saying earlier about, that instant gratification, the next, the creativity is no longer free, and it's filtered through metrics, but it's controlled in such a way that is almost like presented as an illusion, which really just impacts people's mental health, self-esteem, and also their long-term development. But what really worries me is this bigger picture here, because we can talk about tech until the cows come home. That's a bit of a Britishism. We can talk about the future of technology and AI. That's one part. But there is a puppeteer that is behind the curtain of this bigger picture here that is pulling the strings. It's almost like the advertising agencies. You know, the reason why people get these ads on their phones is because there are digital companies out there that work with the public Wi-Fi's of this world, and they track demographics, and they make an absolute bloody fortune. They don't have to take your name, for example, or your address. But the second you jump onto the Starbucks Wi-Fi when you take your laptop to work, you are now playing a part in the bigger algorithm, which is then sold onto the advertising places and so on and so forth. That's how they generate revenue. The same goes with the conversations that's been happening around this platform, X. I love this platform because it gives us the ability to have the conversations like this. However, we've all seen the bigger picture of people really kind of going down certain roads to fit what they believe is going to make them the best on this platform or what have you. But really, the creative industries needs to take responsibility for this, because this is the evolution of it. Because the creative industries isn't just Hollywood anymore. It's all online. It's digital.
But Katie, what responsibility is there to take when we willingly surrender ourselves to it?
But
we're not make no mistake, no matter what anybody says on here, we are not resisting this at all.
Right, because I'm happy to do a poll of how many people have read the terms and conditions upon signing up on this app. And
takes too long.
See, and I totally get it. But this is where the creative industries, including social media, doesn't matter whether it's this platform or TikTok, Instagram, whatever, you just scroll to the end and you click accept because you want to be part of the communities that your friends are part of, right? But I beg to say to everybody, when you get a spare moment on the toilet in the morning when you're doing your business, look at it and you can see what rights that you have and what rights that you don't have, and what rights are not protected, and what your information is actually being used
Katie,
for.
if you wanted to get us that information, instead of putting it on a giant 55-page screen, right, and that you have to scroll way down.
That's how they get you.
I know they do. But so why do the activists who talk about how bad this is, like why doesn't a Joe Rogan or an Ian Carroll or someone like that, why don't they go and actually read the things for us and then do some of their little content creation for us so we can have it explained to us, because we will suck their content creation clean.
Right.
But we're not going to read that crap. So why don't they take that response? Or is it just the fact that...
No, I've done it before in the past. I've read out the terms and conditions. They don't want to do it because it will potentially affect their algorithm, because the big bad wolves of this industry...
Have you ever read it naked?
Naked?
Yeah.
No,
because there's a better chance that if you read it on video naked, there's a better chance that everybody in here is going to listen to every word of the content of the terms and conditions.
There's your shock and awe right there.
There it is.
Have at it. Boom. 20 million likes. Go.
Boom. And you've just done a world service.
No. As a sexual assault survivor,
what I'm saying,
I would never put my body out there.
No, I'm joking when I say that. What I'm saying though is if it's something that's so important, like the terms and conditions are so important, then people ought to do what it takes to get that information out there and do the work to get that information out there. No, they're not. Nobody's
done it. I've done it.
Okay, watch this. Let me see a hand of anybody that's on the speaker panel that has seen Katie deliver the terms and conditions.
Right. And it proves my point that they quashed the algorithm to put it in front of anybody.
Okay. Now watch this. Raise your hand if you want to watch Katie read the terms and conditions. Chavez, get real.
Oh my God.
No, because nobody's got that
I
kind
mean,
of time.
have you heard her voice? Sure, I'd listen to it.
Well, I would listen to. Yeah, I'd listen to.
Well, yeah.
But I can listen to her read something really cool though, like not terms and conditions, like read Macbeth or something. I mean, I don't know. It could be.
The point I'm trying to make is exactly this: is that this is how the house always wins. And, I would only but hope that people would wish to listen. Doesn't mean I have to read the whole thing, but I can certainly read the red line of it. And you should want to hear it because it's important to your own rights as to what you own and what you don't own. And, even for our kids that will potentially be using either this platform or any other platform, the best way that anyone can get a hold of something and manage it correctly is by understanding exactly what it is that you're working and dealing with.
But Katie, we're both making our points, but my point is that we say that we want to do something. We say we want to make a difference. We say we want to make a change, but rarely are any of us willing to actually put in the work to do it.
But why is that,
now,
Mike?
For you, that's
Why is that?
Because we're lazy. We're late and we're not interested in it. It's like, why do teachers, if people say teachers are the most important people in our society, and yet they don't get paid shit.
But you said you're a father, right?
I'm not, well, not that I know of.
Oh.
I'll be here all week. Hey-o.
Well, look, I'll land my plane here, and I thought you said you were a father, but I
am too. About 180 kids every freaking year.
Well, muzzle tov.
Yeah.
I'll land my plane here. I appreciate you letting me come up and speak. I'm begging for everybody to at least have the seed planted as to understanding the bigger picture of not just these tech platforms, but the industry that's behind them. Not tech industries. I'm talking about a systemic, corrupt, disgusting industry, which is the creative industries. We've read we read the headlines of your Weinsteins, your Diddy's, your Rolf Harris, your Russell Brands, all these disgusting people. These are the ones we read about. And how do you think that they connect with their victims? Via social media, right? And if you content create, if you come do this, if you come do that. I'm telling you, this industry should be dissolved and rebuilt, and I'll land it there. But look beyond the wood from the trees. Amen. Alleluia. I'm going back to my faux soup and plugging my phone in. But God bless you all. I love you too,
Katie.
Mike.
Absolutely love having Katie. Katie's someone who's smart enough that you can push back on her and she has a conversation with you. And I think really that's what it is. We have to be able to say, like, this is the way I feel. This is the way and then you throw in a little satire, a little sarcasm, and then that's how you have a conversation these days, right? Granted, the people that we watch don't have conversations like this, but that's how you do it. You've got to be able to trust it's not that I have to trust Katie enough. I have to trust myself enough that when I say it, that I'm saying it in a way that Katie will understand and not take as me being aggressive toward her, but and if that doesn't happen, then you fix that in line, right? So anyway, I love Katie. I love having her up here. And whenever we talk about stuff like that, I love her perspective. So Katie, always good to have you. Stick around and chime in at any time. And real quick, before I go to my boy, let me go to Destiny. Des, I was going to ask you about what Katie brought up. A lot of good points. And you go ahead and speak to that because I know that you probably picked up the same points that I did.
Yeah, no, I'm this is my topic, right? This is my thing is that, I came on to X with a specific purpose in mind. I came in, well, I have had X for like ever, but in 2022, I had a friend of mine who's like, all your stuff on BitChute is great, but you got to get it to more people. And the biggest platform is X, right? And so I'm like, okay. And I'd already been like banned, I had my account suspended on Facebook. I was censored for what they would consider, anti-vaccine rhetoric, which it wasn't. But, because of that, I was very sour to Facebook. And so my friend turned me to trying out my Twitter for once. And I was like, okay, great, whatever. So I came on here and I started putting out my content. I had 34 friends when I first started on here in 2022. I've grown that to over 70,000. I'm very proud of that. because I did it with my content. And that is something that I want to maintain. And you're right in a certain aspect, Mike. People don't care. They say they do. And I hate that so much. I hate it so much as a content creator. They say they want the truth, but they really don't want the truth. They say they don't want mega corporations running everything, but they don't support small business, right? Like there's and the reason why isn't because they're lazy, and it's not because they're stupid. You have to understand what has been fed to us is an addictive substance. The reality we have been given is an addictive substance. It is dopamine backed, like think tank oriented drugs. The products, the way we do things, it has been ingrained. It has now become an addiction. It is something that we have ritualistic, things about. Like you wake up in the morning, you check your phone. That's ritualistic. That's what drug addicts do. They're ritualistic. And because we've done it for so long and it has so many, highs, if you will, we're addicted. It's not easy to come off of drugs or drinking. I know I did, and it was very difficult. And I know many others have. And they'll tell you it's not easy, and it requires a new environment. And that's what I really want to make key here, is that if we want to be off their drugs, so to speak, then we need to change the environment we're in. You cannot take a drug addict, take them to go to rehab, and then place them back in their drug-fueled environment and think that they're not going to go back to drugs. They absolutely will. I know this. I struggle with my drug-addicted brother. It's impossible. You cannot put them back where they know other drug dealers and other drug use. You can't put them back in that environment. They will relapse. You have to change the environment that they're in. And that is like the biggest part of addiction is an environmental change. And so what we need to do is like look to how do we change the environment so that we are not addicted. It's not a matter of laziness. We just, I think, are unaware, just like a drug addict being put back in their environment. They're like, oh, well, I went through rehab, I should be good, right? Well, no, not really. Not really. You will fall back into, we're creatures of habit. And I want to play something. I put it in the purple pill. And I asked the question about, since mainstream media is dead, the Chinese product saturation in this market is going to be dead. We're going to be making things in America again, thank God. And legacy media is dead. Like the things that we know, those drugs are no longer available to us. How do we opt for something better? And there's something that was made, I think in early 2000s, like 2002 or something, by, of all people, Woody Harrelson. It's 2 minutes and 47 seconds. I'd love to play it for everybody, and let's just kind of have a conversation around it. It's exactly our topic. So let me know if you can hear this, and I'll press play.
We got into the habit of buying junk fast foods that have no actual food in them. We buy gallons of poisonous household cleaners when one degradable soft soap will do. We are poisoning our homes and wasting our hard-earned money for no good reason. Why? Because the advertising industry tells us to. They just want you to buy stuff. For example, if a company pollutes the environment or uses bad business practices, if you don't buy their stuff, they will change. If you don't want food with chemicals or GMOs in it, then don't buy it. The minute we start taking responsibility and spending our money wisely, every politician, every corporation, and leader around the world is going to know that we have woken up. This is the 21st century. If we use our resources wisely, there is no reason why anyone shouldn't have what they need. There's no reason whatsoever why people are still starving to death on our planet. And the common man or woman, whether they are Israeli or Palestinian, Protestant or Catholic or Iraqi or American, the common man just wants to live in peace and justice in a clean environment. When we look around the world and we see that that is not the case, we know that the will of the majority is not being listened to. That's the first sign that our system is broken. Government won't make these changes for us. Yet again, it is down to the common man. No company will continue a practice or product that you, the consumer, will not buy. It's vitally important that you understand this because this gives you ultimate power to change the world you live in. Companies are extremely sensitive about you buying their products because if you don't buy their stuff, they go out of business. That's not something any company is willing to consider. And by choosing to spend your money wisely, you can promote those companies that do business in a socially responsible way.
All right, so that was it. I put it up in the nest above. It's a YouTube video, by the way. That entire channel is called the Awareness Act. that entire channel has videos that are very similar in just how amazing they are. So I do recommend following that channel. They only post like once every like 4 years, but it's always something amazing. So do that. And I think he said exactly what I'm trying to say, which is like, it's in our hands. If we want good content, we have to like good content. We have to share good content. We have to promote, because people, the reality is the market goes where the money and attention is. So if you put your money and attention towards the right things, you get the right things. And if we make it the standard from now on, we've shown legacy media, we don't trust you. But if we show to our side, the alternative media or the influencer media, that we will not accept the same kind of racket that they were pulling with mainstream media. We won't accept the hyping and sensationalization. That we're not gonna accept that. And we do that by showing only support to those who are providing facts, who are providing sources. One thing that I'm really proud of, and it's not my idea, I'll definitely give credit to whose idea it was. I always give sources on my information, always. And if it's not provided, I always say you can DM me, I'll provide it for you. Because I believe that the government, the mainstream media has done a good job making us feel like we're too stupid to understand something. It's just beyond our understanding. It's this big veil of they're the official story. We saw that in the Douglas Murray kind of interview with Joe Rogan, where there's a side of our culture that really believes unless you have these, 27 letters after your name and all these accolades, that you cannot be trusted, which is ridiculous. That makes the common person inferior. And in the minds of the system, we are inferior to them because they have those positions and letters after their name. But the reality is we all can read, we all can read. We know how to understand things for ourselves, and we can do our own research, and we can make our own choice on anything. We are not bound by any sort of ideology or anybody's will. Like, we have the power completely within ourselves to determine and understand the world around us. And so I got the idea of sharing sources with all my research from Del Bigtree in the Highwire. If you're a Highwire fan, you know that every single Monday following the show, which is every Thursday, right, that you get a email if you sign up for the letter, and they provide every citation of everything they covered in their show, which I wish if mainstream would have done that, they actually probably would have gotten somewhere. They'd probably still be around. Because what it told me is that Dell and the Highwire trusted me, and to trust them enough that I could verify it, and I know that they're saying what they're saying is true. I don't have to take their word for it, and that I'm not like some chump who's just going to buy into whatever. And I appreciated so much getting that option, that I think moving forward, I will forever continue to cite everything, because I do believe people are smart enough to figure it out on their own if you give them the information. And there's something Ronald Reagan said back in '86, was that there's nothing the American people can't do. If you give them the information and get the hell out of their way, they will come up with the correct answer. And so I think that if we follow that understanding, that we will have the kind of environment necessary for us to have a good system. And it's not a lot of effort, but it is a lot of being mindful throughout, I think, is that all it takes. And I think we're on our way.
That was awesome, Des. That was a great clip. We were all listening to that. Like, that was, I think everybody listened to that. That was like spot on. Like, that was really Woody freaking Harrelson. That was incredible. But
I know, like, of all people,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like, it's so bizarre.
Exactly. And I think you hit on a couple key points. And let me just tie this in a very cliffhanger, clickbait kind of way. On the speaker panel here, you see hold on, you don't know where I'm going with this. There's a little black square, says NAG on it. So what I want you to do is I want you to go follow that. I want you to go follow them, and I want you to turn on the notifications. And all I'm going to say is there'll be some information that'll be coming along in the following weeks and months that will address exactly what Destiny was talking about.
Oh shoot! Can we talk about that?
Facts.
Oh,
what we're going to be doing, what's going to be coming up is going to be facts. And what Destiny said was so clear: facts are what count, right? And so think about this. It made me think about, imagine to be able to organize yourselves. Imagine to have a community where you're able to communicate with each other and have access to facts. People can comment politically or religiously or whatever they want to on these issues. But these facts, and like she said about sources and citations, right? Very important. So for instance, I was thinking about but we have to change the way we're looking at things. So for instance, there's the kid killed the other kid at the football game. We heard about it in Texas. And what happened was, they did the GoFundMe thing or whatever it was, and he wound up raising $1 million. Okay. Now we start hearing all the social media stuff, all the stuff's coming out about it. Now here's what happened. He raised $1 million. They cut the bail down to $250,000. The guy gets out and he goes, and now he's living in a luxury house, and he bought a brand new car. Now, what is the problem with that story? Does it Des, what do you think the problem is with that story?
Well, it lacks the opinion from his side, from any facts.
That's correct.
Really. There's nothing,
because we get the information that he got a brand new car, and it was based on someone saying that there was a June expiration for a new car license plate on there. We correlate the money that he raised, which was far and above what probably he should have gotten if he's guilty, and then the fact that he got a new car, which we think you're not going to be able to keep it. But we don't know for a fact that he got a brand new car. You see what I'm saying? We don't know that. And so out of that story, we're enraged by the money that's raised. We're enraged that this kid who killed someone did this. We're enraged by the fact that he got to walk free. We're enraged by someone of the same color who lowered the bond for him to get out. We're enraged at all these things, and he got a brand new car, and we're furious. He doesn't deserve a brand new car. We don't know that he got a brand new car, right? And those are the things that we gloss over because we let these facts go away, and we just accept these things they throw in with other facts. That, well, if you give me 4 facts, the 5th one must be a fact, right, Des?
Mike, I want to point to this. You're right, and I have a great example. I just put it in the nest because when the second you brought this up, I was like, this reminds me of the inauguration of Donald Trump. And I have the little video there, and I explain, but I started off by showing my initial reaction. When I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, Trump didn't put his hand on the Bible when he swore in. I was that person that immediately saw that and was like, what is going on? I need to investigate this. This is crazy. And I did what everyone who also had that same instinct, oh my God, what's going on? This is crazy. Oh my God, I see a Satanist. Right. I did what everyone who was thinking that did not do, which is I actually looked into it. Right. And I found out there was a beyond legitimate reason why he didn't put his hand on the Bible, because first off, it's like a 170-year-old Bible. Okay. It was owned by Abraham Lincoln, and you're not supposed to. It's held at the Library of Congress. You can only touch it with 100% pure cotton gloves, which is why Melania is holding a book underneath it, their family Bible given to Trump by his mother during his convocation, right? And the Bible on top of that is the one that's not to be touched. And if you notice, a guy came out with a pillow, this super official guy brought it out and put it on her Bible, and he's wearing gloves. It's because you're not supposed to touch it barehanded, even though the only president who ever did disrespect it enough to touch it barehanded was Barack Obama. He put his hand right smack dab on it, not giving a shit about the rules. But it was actually, and I was like, oh guys, there's actually a reason here. And that's the initial instinct that I want people, that's why I did the video, to show, hey, I'm wrong first instinct too. That's why I do the research, is to prove I was thinking, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. How could he? How dare he? Right? To realizing, oh my gosh, thank God he didn't put his bare hand on that Bible. Thank goodness he didn't actually do that, because it's a piece of American history. It's not just, it's not just Trump's for the day. It is American history. That was Abe Lincoln's Bible, and the one he swore to, and was scheduled to swear in again, but he was assassinated. And so it was really significant that he used the Bible. But that first instinct, because the facts were he didn't put his hand on the Bible, and the initial reaction by so many to that was, oh my God, how dare he? But, that's when you don't have the full facts. Like you're saying, Mike, it's the same thing. It's we don't know about the car. We don't know if that was already planned to be purchased. We don't know anything about it. But we're going to just jump on the assumption because the headline is so intriguing, and we got to get past that. We really do.
Do you think it was for advertisement for the car?
It very well could have been. That's one of the possibilities.
I don't get it.
Oh, well.
For the Lincoln, a Lincoln car?
Well, you never know.
Oh, no, you don't know. No, I was thinking to myself, that could work. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, potentially, because the advertisement on this platform is hidden, as it says in the X's terms of service. So again, back to my previous point.
Just read that thing.
I know, right?
I know.
So so for example, what is it? Even your content you generate, yes, you may own the originality of it, but you basically license that out for free for the platform to use in any which way, shape, or form to modify should they wish, to use that for advertisement, for AI learning, and so on and so forth, all for free. And then when it comes down to advertising, there are such things as, what do they call it? Like the camouflaged ads. So you never know. You never know.
You never know. But you know someone who does know? And Yod, I'm coming to you next, but I got to hit my co-host real quick. Savvy knows, because Katie, she's politically savvy. And she's also,
I do love savvy.
And she's worldly savvy.
I do love me.
And Destiny.
A lot of her friends, and I think I saw Heather down there. Yeah, she's down there with her hands up by her ears.
That's my best friend.
Heather knows. Heather and Jet and Brett, they all know that she's worldly savvy.
Head.
Watermelon head.
to Jetty Spaghetti Watermelon.
Jetty Spaghetti Watermelon head. That's correct.
And savvy. But no, I wanted to make a point, and I'm sorry that I had to go quiet for a little bit. My daughter FaceTimes me to show me she's going out for cheer. So she had to show me their new stuff. So that, of course, took precedence over all of this. Anywho's, as far as content is created, and this is a huge frustration, and I've had this conversation with several of my very close, I guess you'd say, colleagues or content creators. People are very reactionary, right? So the 24, 48-hour rule is very, very important for people on all of these platforms. But it's frustrating to me when I see, and I'm going to try to be I'll use one of my own situations that's happened the past 2 days. My dad is a former special agent and director of the bureau in both Illinois and South Carolina. Okay. Now there is this growing, and I understand it, and I do to an extent appreciate it. There is a growing, what's the word I'm looking for? People are calling for, they're saying Cash Patel and Dan Bongino are absolute. I mean, they have gone to the deep state, this, that, and the other thing. We want arrest now. We want the, blood spilt on the tree of liberty, and we want it now. And I'm sitting here going, hold up. You got to take that away. And this is when facts matter. With both being in office, 54 days and 30 days. This is as of today. So I then, during my whole work day yesterday and today, I was also deep diving with my dad. I'm like, I need you to carve out several hours because I need facts to help educate people on time and what it looks like from someone who it was a lifelong agent, literally was contacted by the FBI as he is graduating high school. Okay. So that's what he went to school for. And what an incredible human my dad is for that. I'm like, I need timelines. I need, the methods or procedures. And I also want case studies, Dad. So I need you to help me. And so and that's exactly what we did for hours and note taking, deep diving into these case studies, what that looks like. But people nowadays, and I'm going to say people meaning just Americans, I'm just going to speak, for us because that's my country, go USA. We are that instant gratification. We need it now, damn it. We don't care if people have to cut corners. That scares me so bad. Because, and I did a massive thread today on the research that I did with my dad. And the first case I mentioned is actually personal. My dad was a part of that case, and people don't care. They would rather go ahead and say that two people that had either worked or been targeted by government agencies that are now leading it, okay? They would rather just go ahead, throw up their hands and said, well, I haven't seen anything in 29 days. He's gone to the deep state. He's a shill. He's been compromised, this, that, and the other thing. Instead of sitting back, looking at actual facts, thinking for themselves and being like, hey, you know what? 29 days, that's really not any time to do anything at this point, especially with the complexities of the corruption and how deep it goes within our three-letter agencies. This is a really, really big problem because people will align or side with content creators that feed their want or their desire at that time, instead of them being independent thinkers, right? And just taking a breath, taking a 24, 48-hour breath and being like, all right, how about I look into this? What are the processes behind this? What is the timeline? What does this normally look like? Hey, let's look at some cases. I mean, the two case studies that I cited literally took anywhere between 2 to 10 years from the tip off to the arrest. Well, let
me ask you this real quick. What do you think that means though for the content creator though?
There's two sets of us. And this is kind of what I was getting at.
And you consider yourself to be one because during the election, you've made lots of stuff. I mean, even when you were dog tired, you were putting that out, and that was for a reason, right?
Yes. I would put us in two different camps. All right. So, and this is what this is very apparent, especially if you go to events where you're invited, right? And you get these VIP tickets and you get to go to the influencer suites and everything. I hate that shit because it is me and probably 3 other people that I know personally. And we are standing here going, we do not belong because we are the doers. We don't have benefactors. We don't have any other agenda other than to educate the American people on, hey, guess what? This is actually what's really happening. Not let me just parrot whatever either is being fed to me by my backer or by my organization company, whatever it is, or whatever is that sexy topic at the time. You know, you have people like myself, I'll just use me because I don't want to use any other names. I mean, we're boots on the ground. We're seeing it. We're much like Destiny said, bringing receipts. Hey, take a look at this bill. Take a look at this law. Take a look at these case studies. Take a look at this, that, and the other thing, whatever the case may be. Or you have people that are engagement farming because they want to make a buck. Because a few months ago, Elon kind of lifted the veil a little bit and said, yo, if you're at all divisive or go against ABC algorithm, you're pretty much not going to get paid. So positive energy, right? And then he pulled the veil back down. So you have people, these content creators with massive platforms, 9 times out of 10, they will never interact with the people that are asking them questions, right? And they are making mad money. Now with me, 1,000% transparency. Last month on X, guess how much money I made? $23.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
That's a Subway sandwich right there, baby.
That's what's up. I mean, I can't even, because X has, upped the premium, right? It doesn't even pay for itself anymore. But it's because my content isn't the sexy content. My content is like, yo, no, hold up. Use your brain for a minute. Look at it this way. Perhaps, you know what? Take a breather, or I am the one that will call out a bigger thing like, no, you're absolutely full of shit.
Okay, hold on Hold on. You know what? Okay, no, go ahead and finish because I have something I want to say about that, but I'm gonna come back to it in just a minute.
No, that's fine. You can go ahead. But that was my point. There's two different. And so, you've got someone who is money motivated or who is action and education motivated. And they are not the same, because I mean, shit, I could have a podcast and say, oh, guess what? Tariffs, guess what? This. Well, instead of just giving a headline, how about let's educate people on tariffs? Let's educate what is going to happen with the economy with tariffs versus taxes, right? But no, because guess what? Then your reader, your subscriber, your follower is actually going to have to do some work. They're going to have to read it and perhaps battle with themselves and think about it and be like, oh, you know what? Because I guarantee my post yesterday about Dan Bongino, and thank you very much, Alpha, for doing what you did. I thank you. You have no idea. But that one went balls to the wall because it was my opinion on a situation. Today, where I bring a thread of absolute facts and receipts from the U.S. government, from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, no movement because no one wants to read it because they don't care. They don't care about facts. They care about emotions.
Correct. And it makes me, and what I was going to go to Coyote, but he stepped down. I just texted him to get him to come back. So I'll go to him in a minute about that. But it makes me want to, it's something Shane and I were talking about earlier. And I just wanted to check in with Shane, see if you're around, brother.
Yes, sir. I'm here.
I figured you had to be here, right? Because Mandy's here, and that's just like y'all are like best friends. So
my twin sister.
Word up. Good to see Mandy down there, by the way. So let me ask you this. This is something you and I talked about, Shane, and you feel free to talk about this however you want to in whatever regard. Savvy was talking about things that she would say that may not get traction, and that Elon put out some things, and what Katie was talking about earlier about the, some of the rules and things like that. And the algorithm probably as well as anybody does that I've talked to. And so, your girl Insurrection Barbie has been going through some difficult times lately. I guess a lot of people are upset because Elon might repost her or something like that. And you saw the thing earlier. I read something that she said. And I thought that just the way that it was written, I thought it was one of the best posts I've ever read. And so she's going because that is content creation. When you put out a post like she put out, Shane, you would agree that is content creation, right?
Yeah, for sure. I was actually looking one of Elon's posts up. That's why it took me a second to come off mic. But what she does is content creation, definitely.
Yeah, and then for those of you who don't know, and by the way, guys, real quick, down at the bottom right-hand corner, if you could just retweet the room, get a couple more people in here. I want to get a couple different opinions. We're going to kind of ramp this up a little bit. But for those of you who do not know, Shane, Barbie, and I host a Thursday night space that deals with, that's a Bible space. It's a Bible study space, and it's fantastic. And a lot of you that are in here now have come in there, and it's just, we're getting our feet underneath us, and it's just an absolute lot of fun. And I couldn't imagine having more fun than listening to Shane and Barbie and a lot of the people that are in there speak to. I see John Collins down there. John comes in there every now and then, and Mandy and a lot of people. Anyway, great. It's a great space. It's all because of Shane. And so I was going to ask Shane, because they're my co-hosts on that space. Barbie must go through. She's been getting aggravated lately, right? Because of some of the way that they're attacking her quote unquote content, and because she gets an unfair advantage because Elon reposts her, and people, she really doesn't even do anything. I'm wondering what when you talk to her, what are some of the things that she tells you about what she's going through with content creation, social media, stuff like that?
So she's like any of us, right? It's like when people, come at you, first you're like, what the hell? And the bigger your account is, the more attention you have, the more they come at you. But she's learned to just ignore it. It's the signal versus noise thing, right?
And I put something up in the nest that's worth it. It's really short. And I'll read it. Basically, it says the algorithm's effectiveness increases as the ratio of engagement to views approaches a 1-to-1 ratio, right? So like a lot of times we look at our views and we think that's what it's all about. But if you've noticed recently inside the algorithm, impressions or views are decreasing, but relatively engagement is kind of staying the same for most creators. I do know it fluctuates, but overall, for most creators, engagement staying the same, but impressions are going down. And that's
real quick for us stupid people in here, right? That we just like read like comics and stuff. What are you saying? Like what are those?
I guess what I'm saying
mean?
is, in a perfect world, impressions are the same amount as engagement, right? Because Mike's only got, say, 20 minutes to scroll per day. You don't want him scrolling for 19 and only engaging for 1. You want him engaging for that whole 20, right? That's what helps creators. Okay. Each eyeball on the platform should be engaging the entire time it's on the platform. But if you've got to scroll for 20 minutes to find one thing that entertains you, you just wasted your 20 minutes for that day. And that's what the algorithm's trying to do. It's, Elon calls it unregretted user minutes. The algorithm's trying to match the right eyeballs to the right content for that entire 20 minutes of scrolling so that creators get the maximum amount of engagement from the eyeballs on the platform. It's not perfect, but it is getting better. So as you see impressions going down and your engagement rate remaining the same, it's working, right? That's what's going to happen as we move forward. Impressions will go down. Engagement theoretically will stay the same or go up. But yeah, I mean, that's my nerd moment for the day.
Trouble is, you can drop your impressions deliberately and increase your engagement rate. And I know it works because I did it the last 2 months.
Can you say that with a more of an American accent and a little bit slower?
Hey, well, when you're having a barbecue and you got too many sausages, if you take the sausages off, you drop them on the floor, you get the ketchup out, and you have more ketchup, sticky, playing around with ketchup a lot. More engagement with ketchup. You get it?
I think I did get it. How's that even possible? How's it? Huh. Savvy and I, we're down here in the South. See, we already got that. But we down here in the South, we ain't gonna drop no sausage on the ground, though. You know what I'm saying? So appreciate you, Money Penny. That was terrible accent, by the way. God.
Oh no, it's bloody awful, but yours is too.
I am American. Anyway, stop trying to manipulate the Americans. It's America first. Yeah. So anyway, I get what you're saying. And the thing is I guess the question about content creation or social media being the problem is I'm wondering about what is, like if Barbie writes that thing the other day, like people question, like everything is being questioned. And so I actually I think I put it up there earlier. If you scroll up in the nest up there, I think it's the first one up the nest. So just scroll all the way to the right. So I put a video of something that I made, a video that I'm trying to focus more on with. There's some faith-based type videos where I just am blunt and I talk about the things that are important to me regarding my faith and things like that. And things we talk about also on Thursday night with Shane and Barbie. And so what I would say, I put that out there and now I'm looking for feedback on that. If anybody wants to watch that video and give me feedback, no matter how good or how bad, like I'm at that point now. So for me, that's literally creating content and getting feedback on it in order to try to make it better, because I've gotten past the point, what will they think? To the point where I don't care what they think about it as long as I feel that I'm serving the purpose that I'm supposed to be serving, right? And once I feel like that, and it can be anything, it can be political, it can be like what Savvy does, it can be research like what Destiny does, it can be, political stuff that like Alpha does, it can be spirituality and time travel and aliens and every freaking conspiracy possible like Maze does. Maze laughed before I even called her freaking name out. She knew that I was coming to her.
She knew.
She's like, it's so funny. I'm like, I didn't say her name yet. See, or the arrogant spaces, right? Where they think that everything, you probably think this song is about you. don't you, Mace, don't you? Yeah. So anyway, but yeah. So when you have this purpose where you know the content that you're making is authentic, I think a lot of people comes across like that. It can also stir up people, but it's the people that are coming out with the content that's not authentic, but they're just really talented at delivering it, that we can't sometimes tell the difference. And we don't do the investigation because we really like the person. And so, but then again, I'm asking myself, why shouldn't we just let people fall to the wayside, right? If there's disinformation in there and you don't have a support group or people around you that can help you through it.
We can't, I know I cannot do that. If I see people being led astray, I feel conviction to be like, please, for the love of God, just take a second, because I don't want to leave a man behind. I don't want to be able to, I do not want to look back and say, you know what, I could have helped him and I decided, yeah, fuck it. That's just not in my nature.
Well, I think the other part of it too, though, is recognizing, understanding the target audiences. Which audience is the actionable people? And that has to be the priority. You know, you have the people that are going to scroll, the people that are here for entertainment or curiosity, but they have a low impact on the reality of what happens. So if your mission or intent is to have some type of change or influence, then your target audience needs to be the people that actually do that kind of work. I mean, now the goal is to obviously save as many people as we can, but the reality of it is, and I think we hate saying this as much as we hate hearing it, the vast majority of the public isn't smart. I mean, people have to read their medication instructions 3 or 4 times.
It's 85 to 90% healthy literacy, Alpha. You nailed it.
It's and that's terrible. And that's why, you know, 20 people can go and read the same legal brief and come away with different opinions. Now, everybody read the legal brief, so why do so many people interpret it different? And it's just because, you know, people just aren't that smart. And so what you have to do is you're trying to reach the ones that are smart, the ones that are going to hear the information, understand it, and recognize, okay, this is the mission of what I have to do. And it's actually a very small portion of people there. And you can tell which, you know, content creators, influencers, you know, whatever people title we want to choose, you can tell which people recognize what target audiences is and which people are, I just got to say what the massive amount of people follow me like. So I get what Shane was talking about, that actual engagement. So this way, you know, I'm collecting my check. And you know, I just wanted to add that 2 cents. I'll go back to my hand up.
No, well, you know, that the target audience is the big, like that is the big, I guess, for lack of a better word, target. And understanding that, I guess, is even more important to find out, you know, who it is that you're trying to get to. But like Alpha said, I agree with that. It kind of goes with what Trump is saying these days. Like we taking our medicine and realize that sometimes the Band-Aid's got to be ripped off. If the boat holds 20 and there are 30 people in the water, you've got a decision to make. And the decision is not going to be a good one. It's going to be a great one for 20 people.
Based on looks.
Well, of course, you always based on looks. That's why I don't understand why all these girls up here don't get traction on their posts. I mean, we're just looking at you. We're not really reading. Whatever. Anyway, story for another day. But yeah, it's got to be it's got to be, you know, you've got to make some decisions or you just don't care about it. I'm going off into the weeds a little bit. I'm going to bring it back. Let's get to a couple of these hands real fast. Some guys that haven't gone yet. Frank, and then Athena, and then So Tired, and then we'll circle back.
Don't forget me.
No, I didn't see you, Lindsay.
I'm in bright ass green. How can
Hey, let me just ask
your backside. I'm used to your face.
Can you see my hand up? I'm just trying to be respectful, but is it
even
working?
Who's that?
No, it's probably glitching. It's Chavez. It's same
Chavez.
as me.
Oh, dadgummit. Well, I'd like to talk when I can, please, sir. It's okay.
Gotcha. Oh, you know what, Chavez? Okay, I tell you what. Let me do this real fast. Let me get to these people real quick who haven't gone yet, and I'm coming to you next. I know Frank's been up here for a while, and Destiny said he's had his hand up for a while. So let's jump in there, Frank. See what you got, brother. How are you?
Yeah, it's all good, Mike. How you doing? It's been a while.
Doing good, brother.
Good. Hope you're well. Destiny. Hi again. And I haven't met your other co-hosts, but definitely heard some very good things said by everybody that's been up here. I actually took a few notes just so I didn't want to forget anything. So I'm just going to start with this. Destiny mentioned earlier regarding the situation with the Bible and Trump, and I'm not here to, speculate on any of that. I just want to encourage people to keep in mind that there's always the matter of plausible deniability, and oftentimes there could be some facts that could be juxtaposed with others, and that in itself doesn't mean that both conclusions are one or the other. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. In other words, there could be merit to both the original intuition and concern, as well as to the counter arguments. So that's why I encourage open minds. And I also heard from your co-host, again, the same concept of not rushing to judgment and haste, because, things take time, and sometimes, it's just people aren't well served to rush into those decisions. So that being said, I think it's important to note that we have to, as public speakers and those that are publishing or writing, we have to be aware of course, conflicts of interest that could be there. It could be personal, financial. We also know that there are many publications where they cherry pick data. There's manipulation of data. We've seen it notoriously in many of the funded medical journals, among other things. Also, there was an earlier speaker that had mentioned some Mr. Musk's assertions with respect to the prospect of the human mind conceding leading thought to AI as the primary medium in the future, which may very well go that way, at least to some extent, for idea exchange. But as far as growth and development for the future, I think it's important that we all remember that it's important for humanity to maintain position in the driver's seat, and that with AI becoming the de facto source of technological growth and innovation, civilization as we know it is obviously always changing. However, as humanity, we are the stewards as far as the fate of this planet, as well as for our own posterity. And therefore, we must maintain that position once again in that driver's seat. So, and that's, notwithstanding, these sci-fi things with AI or automation going rogue. Just a couple other quick points I wanted to touch on, which we talked about internet regulation, and there's merit obviously for protection for minors. Generally speaking, though, regulation, as we know, can very quickly change over to suppression of information and censorship, as we've already well seen throughout the West. And it's also been long the case with internet blackouts in historically communist countries, and we do see some of that moving towards the West. Mature adults, we should be the arbiters of what content we're digesting, what information we're viewing, and the responsibility, the onus does lie with us, with protecting ourselves from things that may be disinformation or propaganda. And we have to make informed decisions, even though sometimes people are prone to be lazy. I mean, ultimately, we're going to lose our rights and our liberties if we are not mindful of this. And it's not even about us, it's about the next generation, the generation after that. And as these platforms go, some of you are very aware that many of us are shadow banned, including myself, on Twitter, and heavily censored on many other platforms due to sharing sensitive information, regardless of the veracity. And so you may have a lot of information that's absolutely true. However, the powers that be, or censors, or corporate interests, or the state, they have vested interest in not seeing that information come to light. I, for one, received a strike without warning and a week's suspension on another platform, and all of my content removed for 4 years up until recently, some of you know. And that was simply for sharing part of a documentary with my own viewers, my own followers. And just as a side note, I went ahead and shared some heavily suppressed information right into the messages of this space, just as a direct example of censorship. So I'm not trying to go into a whole diatribe here. I mean, there's a lot that I would like to say. Unfortunately, much of the American public has been subject to this incessant propaganda, and our public schools aren't much better, serving the same powers and same interests that are really looking to indoctrinate and limit the access that people have to full facts that are relevant to make well-informed decisions. And it goes for academia as well. I could tell you many examples in my own textbooks in grad school that were filled with all types of propaganda, whether it was, a very slanted view and, just talking about Keynesian economics, for instance. That's just one. There's so many examples. And again, history is replete with situations where the state or governments or other special interests, money interests, they're going to dictate what is told to the public, and we just need to be very much abreast of that. So lastly, tariffs were mentioned. I do want to remind that tariffs are a tax. Who pays that tax? Ultimately, it's paid by consumers for whichever countries are involved in the tariffs. But as far as my peers go, I just want to continue to encourage all of you, under the strongest terms, just to advocate for free speech, free expression, free movement in society, which means, again, not having our movement stifled. We have, the new IDs coming out, so we have to just be aware of these things. So I'm going to land it there. And thanks again for giving me a little time in the space today, Mike and Destiny. Thank you.
I appreciate that, Frank. I know Des was about to jump in there because I told her I got to step away for 1 second. But
well, I was only cutting in to say thank you to Frank, and thank you for posting in the comments so everyone can go in there. Please bookmark them if you don't have the time to read through them. You can always look it through later. You get infinite bookmarks. That's my favorite thing to use on X is bookmarks, because I do go back later and I do check information, and I probably have like 20 folders, but you got to keep the information somewhere. So thank you, Frank. And you're absolutely right. There's a dual nature to information. Sometimes the truth is a package for a lie, and that is really the world we're living in today. And Chavez, I know you've been waiting a lifetime. I do see you down there. I like your new PFP. I didn't recognize you at first. Like,
bro, I was trying to give Frank a quote real fast before we go to Chavez.
Oh, okay. You can deliver your quote master.
Quotes are very powerful. They're very intellectual, and they're very stimulating. And the way that I would say it would be very mellifluous and very, very sonorous. But a famous quote that a lot of people haven't heard in a long time was by the famous Rick Springfield in the movie Love Somebody. Times are changing. You either change with them or you're dead in the water. So, end quote. You can never use too many Rick Springfield quotes. Just want to throw that out there. Something to think about.
I didn't know there were Rick Springfield quotes. Like, you just opened my mind to a whole new.
A lot of people didn't know that.
Quotes. I didn't even know.
He's a quote.
I didn't know.
He's a quoter, which is it's what you call someone who does all the quotes. Hitch knows that.
I thought it was a quotationalist, but that's just my thing. I don't know. Quotationalist sounds.
Quotationalist it's one version of it. It's more of it's an Australian version. Let's get to a couple of these hands real fast, Des. I'll be right back, and then when I come back, I'm going to give my boy Hitch Lap a very warm bromance welcome.
No. While you're gone, maybe I'll just do it because I love Hitch more than you love Hitch. Look at that. He's lost his words because I'm so right. Ooh,
nobody's ever called you too far right. Okay, I can tell you that. All right, thanks.
Does that burn? 3rd degree?
Whatever.
All right, Chavez, you're up. Let's go ahead. Now that Mike's gone, you can speak freely.
Still here.
The tyrant. Oh, shit.
I'm going to use this opportunity to say, look, since Mike's gone, dude, that guy's gutter trash. All right, he is useless. He's done nothing good for anybody. And that's actually why I've been holding up my hand up this entire time. We can go on to the next person. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I could feel it. I could feel it. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Mike.
There you go. Congratulations, Chavez.
Love you, brother. Love you. Truly, truly. Okay. So, man, we got some big brain power in here, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Let me just say real quick, guys, if you're joining this space, thank you so much for being here. Go follow these amazing people, Savvy, Destiny, and Mike. They're really good people. Show some support, show some love, contribute, help each other out. Nobody can go on this journey alone, and we're all in this together. So I just felt the need to say that. Also share out the space, of course. Okay. So let me just say, I know we have some hands up and people that want to talk, so I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So I'll try to be quick, but really good points that have been presented here. I want to touch up something on what Katie said a while back, actually, And man, I've only been in probably 2 spaces with her where I actually got a chance to speak. And every time she speaks, it's not just food for thought. It's really truly educational. It's informative, and it's very very much thought provoking. I've kind of used that term a good bit tonight, but it's very true. So, and also Frank, really good points too. I'm going to be touching up on a little bit of regulation, but the interesting thing about the creative space that we live in, and the digital space, the streaming space, the industry, which again I personally think is an extension of the entertainment industry as a whole. That's what streaming is, and podcasting and so on and so forth. Personally, I think we're in a very interesting spot right now where it's essentially kind of the wild, wild west right now. Um, there's no regulation or hardly any regulation. There should be some regulation, but Frank hit the nail right on the head. There's a fine line there. There's a very, very fine line there. And I'm not going to break that down, but I'm sure you can imagine what I'm getting into. But it's definitely one of those things where, hardly anybody is standing up, and the machine will silence anybody that it can. We talked about shadow banning, not being favored. That is an absolutely real thing, not featured. You're not spotlight or whatever. I'm absolutely a victim of that as well, on 2-3 different kinds of platforms, all because I had a question or I just had a thought. I don't aggressively go out of my way looking for trouble, but I absolutely defend those who cannot defend themselves or whatever the case may be. I refer to the machine as far as the industry, so they're kind of interchangeable, but it definitely easily takes advantage of the younger generation because they're inexperienced. They haven't lived long enough or to stand up for themselves. They're very naive. Just look at Justin Bieber and Britney Spears as an example, right? They were essentially born and raised on the internet, and now like everybody's like, dude, what happened to them, right? And those are just 2 of thousands and thousands. Now there are definitely those exceptions, like props to Shane on this and calling out your son. There are those exceptions like Shane's kid Josiah, for example, who are an exception to the rule. And why? Because back to my initial point, because Shane took responsibility for his boy, as so many parents do not do. And if that's a bit of a guilt trip, call it what you will. Perhaps you even needed to hear that, right? Now, there's different, points of views on that too, but I definitely think it boils down to the parents is the first line of defense. And if you raise good children, then from there they can contribute to the role of what I like to call the digital citizenship, which means, your presence online. What are you doing? What are you not doing? Are you just a taker? Are you a leech? Or are you, again, provoking thought? Are you challenging people's intellect and so on and so forth? And I just want to bring that up. And then to Katie's huge point about exploitation, I spammed a bunch of hundreds when she brought that point up because she put it so eloquently, and she's absolutely right. Look at, okay, here's one thing. Look at Brand Army. If you guys don't know who they are, they're I think somewhat of a newer platform. But why in the world are they allowing 13-year-olds to just create an account, and yet you have to be at least 18 to even subscribe? They're allowing minors on their platform.
They're allowing minors to go into facilities to get different hormones because they think they're able to change their sex, cut off their dicks and their boobs.
Yep.
But then, so to add to your point,
But
I'm
you
sorry,
have to be
Travis, I'll be
18
quiet.
to get your ears pierced.
Right.
No, you're good. You're the co-host. Have at it. I respect the flow. If you want to add a point, go ahead.
No, that was it. I tend to forget things.
Okay,
I say them right there. I'm sorry.
No, that's
Okay,
perfectly fine. And I'm gonna sidestep just real quick. I'm totally shamelessly putting in my plug here, but I recently put a video out, like not even, I say recently, it was actually just a few hours ago. My man, Divisive Content, I'm sure a lot of people in here know who he is. Very, very divisive individual. That's my boy. We talk every day. We're part of the Divisive Network. So is Mike and Destiny. We got some really, really, again, big brain power in there too. We talk a lot, and he introduced me to a documentary on Netflix called Bad Influence. I encourage everybody in this space, everybody, to watch that at some point in time. I believe there's 3 episodes. It's not super long. But man, oh man, oh man, was it even more revealing. And it absolutely encompasses everything I've been preaching for the past few years about the problems with the industry, the degeneracy, the delinquency, and so on and so forth. So anyway, I just want to bring that up. Another point is in regards to my first point about exploitation, even Savvy's point. She brought up a good point about essentially my takeaway from it is that she's contributing, she's challenging people, she's educating people, she's informing people. But the sad truth is, and I say this with frustration, that's not what people want, right? People don't want to hear the good stuff. They don't want to hear the stuff that will actually better themselves. They don't want to hear the self-development and whatnot. And this is exactly what I was referring to earlier about, what Savvy was saying as far as educating the public. Unfortunately, this is not what people want. And then Mike was also right about the laziness. People just want everybody else to do the work for them as far as research, and they're not willing to do it, right? Now, of course, Savvy could absolutely sell her soul. She could put on something hot, show some cleavage, maybe have some sexual innuendos, sell her soul, or do something, right? And she'd be an overhit night. I mean, agencies would be knocking on her door and sending some DMs, and she could create some gooner material, and boom, she's done. But what has she lost in the process? Her standards are lowered, her morals are lowered, she's lost her way, and everything else. And that's one of the biggest problems I have with the industry. And I'm almost done, guys. Bear with me. One interesting thing that I thought about in terms of, again, the streaming industry, because I'm laser focused on that, is it is definitely starting to recognize the amount of money that can be made and the traction and traffic that they can get. And I say they collectively, the entire industry. Why else are there so many platforms being developed now? It's there's a new platform coming out every week. Back in the day, it was just Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. At the time, Mixer, if there's any OGs in here, and now it's good grief, it's all over the place. You know what I mean? And I think the reason for that is because of, for example, what Aiden Ross did on Kick. I'm a verified partner on Kick, by the way. And what he did with his interview with Trump during his campaign, nobody had ever done that in the streaming industry. And all of a sudden, marketers and agencies are turning their heads looking at, whoa, what's happening over here? So my point in saying that is it's going to get progressively worse if not kept in check, which again starts from the parents. If there are no parents or a single mother, single father, I'm not trying to call anybody out because I know that's a difficult thing too. But the next line of defense needs to be us, the fellow brothers and sisters who are willing to openly speak out about these kinds of issues, like Katie, like Savvy, like Destiny, like Mike, and even Alpha, who I've heard a lot about. I mean, these are the kinds of issues that nobody wants to talk about because it makes them feel very uncomfortable, right? Far too many people apply what I think is one of the most destructive sayings ever, which is, I just stay in my lane. I just stay in my lane. Hey, man, nobody bothers me. I don't bother them. I'm just going to stay in my lane. Well, what happens when you have to go on an off-ramp, right? What if somebody else in the left lane needs to get over to cross over, or vice versa? Are you just going to stay in your lane then? No, you have to move over, right? Now, that's a give and take. You either need to serve, educate, inform, right? Or you need to butt heads. You need to battle. We're not going to let these crazy back to Brand Army real quick. That is a breeding ground for pedophiles, y'all. I'm just going to say it. It absolutely is. And if silence is compliance, I think, in 2025. And I think that's the issue here, is because that absolutely breeds contentment and passivity, while the rest of us are willing to go out there and speak what needs to be said. And here's my last point, and I'll close with this. All of this, I think, stems from lack of accountability and lack of the willingness to confront. Confrontation is not a bad thing. It has a negative connotation to it that people take things personally, but it is a good thing. It's how we learn. It's how we grow. It's how we challenge each other. It keeps us sharp. It keeps us attentive. And my point in saying is that we should absolutely be able to speak freely and openly without prejudice or hostile retaliation of any kind against shadow banning, gatekeeping, so on and so forth. I always encourage open dialogue, even if there's an opposing viewpoint. But at absolute worst, we should agree to disagree. And at best, both parties, or all parties, whoever involved, absolutely get to walk away with learning something. If I'm saying 2 + 2 is 5, and Savvy is saying, actually, no, it's 4. All right, well, here's why I believe it's this. Okay, blah, blah. I'm educated, I learned something, and then she learns how I communicate in the process. That's called growth. So I just want to encourage anybody and everybody listening to this, go check out that documentary, especially if you're a parent, it's going to hit home. And if you're a parent in the streaming industry, I'm seeing this issue come to fruition even more and more. And it's pretty terrifying. So thank you for letting me speak for so long. I definitely held on to that for a good bit. Love you guys.
Appreciate it, brother. Good to have you. Chavez, the man. Savvy does know 2 + 2. So any
It's
just
so.
not even a hint of mathematical impropriety.
That's right. That's right.
I don't want her even thinking about she would add up something incorrectly.
Nope.
Don't do it.
Never.
Let's go to I want to go to Lindsay real quick, and then we've got Athena, and then I'm going to introduce a special friend of mine. My friend.
So if we use our toes and our fingers here in the South, that's why we can do.
That's right, Lindsay.
Damn straight. What are the toes for?
Yeah,
you can count up to Trini, and if you're lucky, you can get like 21, 22.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but that's
for
mainly in
counting.
like West Virginia, Arkansas area.
Exactly.
So whatever, we won't go
Them
there.
things for counting, baby.
Where the tree don't branch. That's where that.
That's
Word.
right. It's straight.
No, I just wanted to bring up too. You guys are talking about influencers and content creators. Also, we have to keep in mind too, there are also whistleblowers that get lumped into that category. And me and Savvy were talking in the background because I was like, always follow the whistleblower because they're going to be the ones that experienced what they are trying to blow the crime on. And people forget that. And she said, well, not all whistleblowers though. I said, that's true too. I just messaged you back, Sav, because you do have to vet them. You have to vet them. And I told her, I said, Savvy, whether you want to realize it or not, you're actually a whistleblower now because you are in there doing the work. You've seen it and you're doing, the studies, the research, the sources, everything. So, like I say, I'm, not only am I a whistleblower, I'm the evidence. I'm the injured that will be put on trial as evidence to put these criminals away. And also I'm an expert witness on the topics that I discuss because, of all the things that I've been through and I've learned because I spend every single day like Des, Sav, some of us up here, Alpha, Charles Rixey was in the crowd too. I mean, we lived it, we breathe it. We are it. So also keep in mind that. And I also wanted to point a fact and kind of challenge some of you guys in here. I see there's a lot of people in here, some good people, good faces. And some of you guys do amazing work. There's not, like Mike, you had said, there's certain niches that we fall into. Like my category is the injured, bereaved, and anything medical, since I'm still an active nurse. And then you have political and so forth. Some people dabble in a little bit everything. But there's not one content creator or influencer who is actually spending time with the injured and getting their stories out. We have like Vigilant Fox and Chief Nerd. They kind of touch on us here and there. But nobody specifically is one that you can know that you go to every day on your feed and say, hey, this person's going to cover what's actually happening and what most of us have been affected by, whether we know it or not, and especially with the information that's coming out because, I am a research patient and I'm connected with all scientists, researchers across the globe. So I'm in it, neck deep in shit, but still, I'm trying to get the information out that you guys need to be able to put into your daily lives and make the best decision for yourself and your family because, we've all our whole lives have basically been a lie. So we have to relearn everything of what actually really happened to us. And the stuff that's coming out, is very uncomfortable. Nobody wants to talk about it. And I don't even want to discuss it, but you deserve to know because we're all human beings and this will eventually affect us all in the longer run. And, if we want to get a hold of this now, because health is wealth. I don't give a fuck if you have $1,052 billion. What's that going to do if you're like me, you're dying, you can't even get off the couch to go to the fucking bathroom. Nothing. Your health is your wealth. And we need to get that together because they put us in the dirt with all the lies, the pharmaceutical companies, the big tech, the media. I mean, they're all in lockstep with one another. So for our future generations of our children, we have to think about them. And anything that I post, just know that I'm not posting it for clicks or likes. I'm posting it because hopefully it can save someone's life or change someone, or, you know, if they can ask a question that we could figure out. But just know I also don't have the brain width or the mitochondrial energy to even post a lot of stuff. So when I do post, just be mindful of it. And the thing that we are having trouble with within our community is the reach. I know you guys see my stuff because we're all stuck in this bubble. We can't get past this bubble to reach someone else who may be in trouble. I mean, you really just don't know whose life you're saving. So I just wanted to put that into perspective. And I wanted to thank all of you guys for always giving us support and love. Because in the end, we're God's children. You know, I say this all the time. And God wins in the end. So we win.
Lindsay, let me ask you something before you're done, since I have you up here and I love you to death, because I was just talking to a friend of mine earlier this afternoon, right before the space actually, about you, about the trend I was seeing. And I was telling them that I was like, isn't it strange that even on X, people, you'll get such reach on conversations about a war taking place overseas, right? You'll get a lot of reach on stuff like that. But even in the United States still, yeah, but like even still, the conversation about the global pandemic in this country is still the most suppressed conversation. It is still the number. You can talk about Nazis, you could talk about all sorts of stuff, but what you cannot still talk about is the vaccine injuries. And I want people to remember that. And but like even Joe Rogan, they had a debate about Palestine, Israel, but they are not bringing up somebody who's going to talk this honest debate about the vaccine injured. They're not doing it. They'll bring up the mRNA platform. They brought up Malone, but they won't talk about the vaccine
and dance all around it. And when you're sitting there getting denied medical care, proper research and treatment, compensation, even acknowledgement of being a fucking human being for the past 4 years, like you could have any kind of other injury, ailment, you know, condition. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, you're vaccine injured. Prove it. I have proven it. And you know what? The cells don't lie. So when we go to court, all these fuckers are going down because of what's in my blood. And you know what they're doing, Des? They're trying to get rid of the evidence. That's why they offer us as a solution assisted suicide. That's what they've done. And a lot of it, I'm glad that Kennedy's in there, and I know there's still some horrible people in there trying to work against him, and he's got all odds at him. But for fuck's sake, some of us are running out of time. You know, I could die any second. And, you know, everybody can die any second, but literally, I am actively dying. I'm still producing spike protein. I am at
you still have
1,500.
POTS,
Yeah.
which I want you to explain what that does to people, because people hear POTS and they don't know. Would you explain it to people in a synopsis?
Yeah,
what
I'm
it
at day
does?
1,566 of continuous spike protein. It has completely wiped out my immune system. So it's mimicking like the HIV virus. And we know the GP120 inserts are in the spike. Also, the clots, they are coming up positive. We know they're amyloids. I have it in me, and what you're seeing them embalmers pull out is the finishing product. Now, what a lot of you don't know, because it's so hush-hush, and we've only confirmed it so far on 3 of our samples, we've tested those embalmer clots in the lab in Japan. It's a non-pharma funded neuroscientist, Kevin McKern, and he purchased a restaurant and turned it into his lab and bought all the high-powered equipment, and he actually videos it live. He will show you taking these samples apart, putting them under the scope, injecting the mice with the spike protein to see what they do. We have found that from a 6-month post-mortem, I call it amyloid fibrin clot because that's what it is reactive with the RT Quick machine, which means it's a prion. Now, you guys probably don't know prions. To break it down, that's when your proteins, so you have
Mad cow. So
you
everyone
have
gets the idea.
good
It's mad cow.
prions
It's
and you have
prion.
bad prions. When your proteins start to misfold, that's when it gets chaotic. It's very, very contagious, very fatal. And we also found deaths. We found that in 3 hits. We injected the mouse with the same thing that we just took the sample of with the prion, and it died in 3 seconds flat. We also found out that to incinerate this and get rid of this type of protein, you have to incinerate it at a temperature of 1,850 degrees Fahrenheit for 5 hours. The crematoriums are not doing that. So then it's in the soil, it's in the water. The animals, the wildlife, and the livestock are going to all get exposed, and then we're going to get exposed because we eat it and we're around it in that destination. So that's what we're trying to research now. But our our problem more than anything, and you see it, is the censorship, not only on social media.
That's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask, you think it's shifting? Because we've had
little
people on Danny Jones. We've had Jack Cruz on Danny Jones, and we just had Mary Talley Bowden on Tucker, which I think is huge for us. Do you feel like it's kind of shifting a little slowly? Because I feel like it is slowly. It needs to be faster, but it is. Yeah. Okay.
Also,
good.
we're busting. There's a group of scientific publication investigators called Science Guardians. They are starting to go through all of the publications that were retracted, that were targeted and retracted. They spent over $1 billion in this realm that people don't know about. So what they did was any paper. So, like, for instance, Bean, she got her hypothesis. It wasn't even like a full paper. It was just a hypothesis about ivermectin. Of course, the attack on ivermectin is if they had something that worked, they couldn't get the vaccine rolled out for the EUA. So we found out who did it, who was behind it, and they got her paper republished. But this is shit that was published in 2021 and 2022 that could have saved so many people's lives. So we're starting to uncover the criminals, and it does help, too, with the USAID money being dried up, because that's where a lot of them were funded. I mean, I've confirmed over 650 plus NGOs that are tied to the pharma realm that attack us or sign to us. They gang stalk us, mock us, all the full nine. And it's also tied to the DNC, the CIA, and the 77th Brigade military in the UK. So a lot of people have no clue this is going on. But I'm glad you asked that, Des. And I'm kind of bitter about the Tucker Carlsons, the James O'Keefes, because I've been trying to contact them for 3 years now. And honestly, if they asked me, I would do it and feel obligated because of the platform it's given the others, because this is way bigger than myself. This is about future generations and our children and other people. I would say yes, just for that fact. But if it was otherwise offered, I would say fuck you, and I would start my own damn show.
That would be content creation.
To go with what Lindsay was saying, because I was in and out because I just railed on Kamala Harris. But the whole direwolf thing, did you mention that or not? Because that is almost all funded by the CIA. I don't know if people knew that. And that was for
Sabby, I've been covering that story
for gene sequencing for
since 2022.
Humans. Like, get out of town, people. If you don't understand, that's frightening.
They have humanized mice.
They're making the woolly mammoth in a few scene next.
They have humanized mice now.
I know, girl. I did my own stuff into that. Like, I put out a post last week. I'm like, look, I saw the documentary called Game of Thrones. I'm just waiting on the dragons now. But in all seriousness, hello, you guys. This is funded by the CIA.
InQtel directly. The company's called Colossal Biosciences is directly funded by InQtel. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's absolutely true. And they leaked the information about this. The first place they leaked it was actually on a TV show called American Dad. That's one of my favorites. They leaked the information that this would happen in 2021 on an episode called Dancing with My Cell from July of 2021, before the company even announced it.
That's why they call it programming. People wake up.
Yes, it is. And it went viral, that post I made, because I proved in the video that the company didn't release information until September 2022. And the episode was 435 days before that. And they, in this show, in case anyone doesn't know, the show is about a CIA agent and his family. And his name is Stanton Smith. And he goes into the laboratory that day and finds that one of the guys had been turned into a woolly mammoth. And they explained that they were doing this, the CIA. And then it was a year and 3 months later that they actually released that the CIA had funded Colossal Biosciences with the intention of bringing back the woolly mammoth. It was complete programming that I caught real time, only because I happen to love that show.
Hey, Des, before I have to drop the mic, also wanted to ask anyone in the room if they knew any angel donors or any organizations like that would help us out, because a lot of us, including myself, I'm actually 24 days away from being homeless. So any information would help.
Let's get it out there, people. Lindsay's my twin. I absolutely love her. We got to pull together and definitely get her some help, get her some eyes on there. Everyone has a lovely, wonderful, rich friend out there. Let's get them on the phone.
I will pay back
guys,
too once I fucking liquidate and dissolve Pfizer. So there's that.
Oh, hallelujah. Let's get them gone, please. I'm tired of brought to you by Pfizer. If I have to hear that one more time, I'm just going to rip my hair out. Mike Mac, I know you had a special introduction for a special person in here. My best friend. I'm sure that you want to become associated. So here's your chance to impress
It's funny that you said that because I was a little distracted because I was reading a freaking message that Hitch just sent me. Let me
Oh, was it about how much you love me?
No,
I
not
got
that
the
one.
same one.
Okay, let me just hold on. Let me just pull it up here. Okay, there it is. Hey Mike. That's the best. That's all I could do. Hey Mike, that's it. Yeah, so I'm sorry. See, you distracted me right here. Hey Mike, thanks for bringing me up on the stage. I always love being a part of your show, and it really is your show. Even though I do like Destiny a lot, I realize where the talent is with the two of you. Sorry, I'm having to read between my microphone. By the way, I did send her a message saying that I loved her just to make sure that she knows that you and I are, well, of course I know that. We're obviously a lot closer. Call me up when you get a chance, but not if we're talking about something that Destiny likes, because most of those topics.
It's just text me. He texted my phone and he said he's drunk right now.
Good. I know. Okay. Well, there's the
breaking
text saying that I just told her I was drunk, and that's why I said I loved her. So again, that makes perfect sense. That's lined up.
I just got a text just now.
He's not texting you anymore. He just said, I'm not texting anymore. So any text she said that I just sent her, I'm not sending it to her. He just texted me that and said that. He just said that. See? Watch this. Hold on a second. Okay, go ahead and say something. That's what I thought. No, he's not. He said you would say that. Anyway, while we're waiting for Hitch's text to get to Destiny, let's welcome. I would like to give a warm welcome to my bromance in the house, my friend of friends, the greatest host on XSpaces, bar none, technically, professionally, and empathetically, vocabularically, and all those things. The master of IQ. And just an all-around dadgum good guy. I'd like to welcome him to the stage, my friend Hitchlap.
Thank you, Mike, Mac, Savvy, and Destiny, and everyone else. Hope everyone's doing very, very well. Well, first of all, bromance confirmed with Mike Mac. Let's go. Love Savvy and Destiny. But someone's IQ has reached astronomical levels, stratospheric levels, when they're using words that are not even in the dictionary. Sometimes people will say, oh, Mike, that word's not in it. They just don't understand that Mike is ahead of the curve.
Did you pick up on the vocabularically?
I did. And even earlier, there was one or two words.
That's Cormac McCarthy style right there, brother.
Exactly, 100%. We're the first person to realize that the sun was the center of our solar system. People doubted them. There has been doubters forever and ever and ever, but Mike Mac is ahead of the curve. Let's go.
Hey, Hitch, does that curve to the left or to the right?
Well, it's a private question for Mike in his personal time, I think. However,
oh my gosh, Lindsay got Hitchlap.
I got him flustered on that one, Savvy.
I was like, I'm not responding. I'm going to see if Hitch's going to take this one over. Hey-o.
Yes, well, it could be like Schrodinger's direction. Depending on if you observe it or not, it can be one direction or the other. But we could go into depth in there, no pun intended.
I just got like the tip though, so just
now first of all, great topic. I really think this is wonderful. I don't know what was said earlier. I had a bit of a busy start to the morning, so I've tuned in a little bit late, but I'll just hit 2 points. And then, of course, Mike or anyone else, please come back. Jonathan Haidt's got a book I think it's called the Troubled Generation. It's to do with social media and basically how social media is increasing anxiety, especially young teenage girls. It's been causing a lot of problems. If anyone wants a title, let me know, Jonathan Haidt. But I do want to say it's not all bad, in my opinion. We are all here conversing. We have all connected through social media. I was very fortunate to, and I'm not, I don't mean this to sound like a brag. I just mean, it's relevant to the topic. I was very fortunate to interview Emil Kierkegaard, Charles Murray, and I have a few other interviews coming up. And if I ever need to fact check something, so imagine before social media, people have written books. You got to go to mainstream media, even scientific journals. A lot of them get screened, especially if you want to talk about heritability, IQ, certain topics. You can't. Now I can come on this platform. I can go to the very good accounts which I have a long track record of providing the studies, providing the sources, and they show their inductive, deductive reasoning. Cremu is one of these people, Charles Murray, and too many to mention. So it's true there are some pitfalls of social media, especially for younger children. But it's also true there's a lot of good things about it, especially now I'm into science. In no other reality could I interview Charles Murray, have a conversation with him. It's only thanks to social media. So yeah, I just want to say it's there are some problems, but it's not all bad, and I certainly utilize it in both directions. When there's what do you call it? When there's online drama, I don't like to instigate drama, of course, and I hope if I had the choice, I would prefer less drama. But if drama's already there, I have a bit of a cheeky listen on Anonymous, not going to lie. So there's the drama element, which is not the best, but there's also the other element. There's the science element. There's socializing elements. So there is a lot of good stuff to social media. That's all I want to add. Well, I'm getting a message from myself saying
no, that was for
one
Destiny.
of the best speeches. That was one of the
No,
best
that was
speeches
no.
ever.
I was doing that for Destiny.
and
I was
how
letting her
dare
have her moment, and it freaking crawled.
He said, "Get this kangaroo off my stage," and I was
Call
like,
it.
"Mike, that is
Kangaroo
that's
has to do with
hate speech.
Australia. I was trying to be racist. No,
That's
it's racist.
rude." I love kangaroos personally. The views of the host are not necessarily the same views.
They actually
as the co-host.
taste delicious. I don't know if anyone's eaten kangaroo, but a kangaroo backstrap, absolutely delicious.
What does an emu taste like? Can you guys eat emus? I know they won the war, but
I
is
mean,
it a war crime to eat
emus
one?
can get. I don't want to swear, but emus can get lost. They can bite dirt. I've never eaten one, but they're vicious birds. They kick you. They got sharp claws. Yeah. So
Koalas
I
have
don't know. Kangaroos
chlamydia
taste
over
delicious.
their death, so be careful.
Kangaroos are delicious.
Freaking Lindsay with her she interjects these sexual innuendos, and it's like everybody just goes.
Telling medical facts.
I know that it's a medical fact, but it's just funny because everybody just goes, "Oh." Okay, look, that's pretty much the call sign that we're starting to wrap this thing up. Probably got about 15 minutes.
We got 3 hands, though. We still have.
I didn't say we're going to cut out Athena.
That have been waiting so long.
Jeez. Hold on. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm saying I know. I just got Hitchlap's text and said shut her up. So,
Mike, schizophrenia starts showing in the late 20s for men. Some cases can go a little longer in life. Have you had the talk yet?
Hold on a second. I think somebody's at my window. The hell? Anyway, no, I haven't had the talk yet, but Alpha and I will be having the talk very, very soon. Probably Saturday. We'll see what happens.
Mike, very brief. Has anyone talked about the positive side of social media, or is this meant to be mainly, the detriments of it?
No, I think we were talking about.
Said was a tool. It could be a useful tool.
Yeah, a tool. It's what is the problem? Is social media the problem? Why are content creation the problem? Do people do people genuinely do it as a purpose? Or are they doing it to get clicks? Does it matter really if they're doing it just to get clicks? Other than the fact that now we have to sift through and decipher, what it is that they're actually saying. And like Destiny gave that point earlier about how they put it right in front of us, and it's just a constant bombardment of stuff that we're having to just, interpret, like what is it that's being said?
It's addictive. It's addictive. Think of fast food real quick. I swear, I have 20 seconds at the end, and then I'll turn it to you. The fast food, like every fast food restaurant, pretty much has the main colors of yellow and red. That is not an accident. That is marketing psychological warfare right there, because what it is yellow increases in your mind the idea of expediency, of fast, and red induces the feeling of hunger subconsciously. So the reason why, McDonald's, Hardee's, whatever, they're all red and yellow, it literally is to propagandize your brain into going to get their food. So it, like, down to the very smallest detail, like color warfare, which is a real thing. If you don't believe me, color warfare, look at Zelensky. What color shirt has he worn every day of his presidency? Oh, it's army drab green, the color of our World War II warfighter color. Like, that is, we associate that with a warrior, that color. And there's a reason why he wears it every single day. It's not because he loves that color. It's because it has psychological ramifications in terms of how people perceive him. So, like, even down to that, yes, Mike, it's a propagandized, addictive culture around us.
Agreed. So there's what do you think about that answer, Hitch?
I wouldn't disagree. Color association is well known. I'm always dubious of these studies because often haven't been replicated, but there was one study that showed when they dressed all the prisoners in pink, they had like less rates of violence, less disobedience, because pink is like a pacifying color. So again, don't know if that replicated, but it certainly was in one study. But yeah, this is well known that colors can definitely do that, have an effect on the psyche, on association. So yeah, I would completely agree. On the clickbait question, you can do both. You can do clickbait that's educational. For example, in my pin post, I've got a water bottle, water level test that 40% of college age women get wrong. Now it looks like it was so simple that people are attacking me for, doing clickbait, basically engagement farming. Yet, 40% of women that take college educated women that take the test get it wrong. And a lot of people don't know that. And I could go on and on about different parts of IQ that I know are going to be controversial, that are going to get engagement, but they're also true that people don't know about, that I want people to know about. So you can be, controversial, knowing you're going to get engagement, but also be informative and educational about different topics. So I guess it depends what realm you're in.
Hitch, let me ask you this. If you were in a situation with your job and your career right now, would you be a content creator? And if so, would IQ be one of the things that you focused on, or would you continue to make it about how you pick one subject a year and just start to study that?
If I could quit my job and live off social media, live off content creation, would I do it? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, probably. I definitely would. And I would focus on the topics that I find most interesting, which are basically psychometrics, IQ, heritability, genetics. I'd focus on those things, and then I'd have plenty of time to research a new topic every year. So I would probably do both, but interviews are my favorite things to do. I've got a couple coming up, a couple of irons in the fire. So yeah, that's my favorite things to do. And I must say, this is not a plug, I promise, but the subscriber after only spaces, I recently got subscriptions. The after spaces are the best. There's nobody there recording me. Everybody's there, has a kind of common interest. Most people are interested in science or whatever. And this is it's an element that I didn't have access to before. So other than if I could do this full time, I do a lot more of these subscriber spaces where, again, there's nobody being nefarious, trying to catch me out, etc., etc. It's and you'd know this, Mike, from your own subscriber spaces. Subscribe to Mike, only 99 cents. Let's go. Yeah, it's an intimate setting, very, very, fun, and no one's trying to, everyone is like-minded. So yeah, I definitely would do it full time, and I would do interviews and just focus on the topics that I want for sure.
Did you mention that you can subscribe to my space and go to the subscriber after space for only 99 cents, even though it says $1, it's still only 99 cents technically, or technically it's $1, whatever.
I was telling people exactly this through osmosis and through subliminal programming.
I thought I picked up on that.
Yeah, we have Sally Destiny, many others who talk about subliminal messaging, and as soon as I stop talking, everyone's going to feel the urge to go to your profile for 99 cents, hit subscribe, and they are going to be able to join your Afterspace for it. I don't know if I mentioned it's only 99 cents, but it is only 99 cents.
Well,
and
it is 99 cents. Yeah, less than $1. You did mention that, but what was funny though was when you mentioned Sally, who has subscribed also, and she will be at the Afterspace. So if anybody wanted to talk to Sally or Destiny or Maze or Savvy, anybody, like they're going to be at the Afterspace anyway. And so let's say theoretically you decided that you wanted to go right to my profile, hit subscribe for 99 cents, and join us in that Afterspace. You could do that with all these other people, and we could talk about the Hitch Slap University, right? Where you can go there and subscribe to Hitch Slap University and then be able to get questions answered by one of the smartest people on X. So that would be something that we could talk about in my subscriber space for 99 cents.
Hey, Mike, don't forget, I'm losing my house, but I'm still subscribed to you. So if I can do it, everybody can do it.
Damn it. Lindsay's freaking, listen, I'm a freaking Lindsay.
She pulls at the heartstrings, does she not?
She
You're like,
does.
okay,
It's like,
guys, you've got no other excuse.
I can't help not being bluntly honest.
It's like Destiny talks to her and says, look, here's what we want to do. We want to try to get Mike in an awkward, silent moment. Okay, so here's what I wrote down some lines. These are some good lines you're going to say. Say these out of the middle of nowhere. Try to find a transition if you can. If he talks about his freaking subscriber space, throw in that other stuff, and everybody will go, yeah, the Hitch Slap, back to you. Thanks, Lindsay. You're a doll.
You're welcome. I love you.
God, I freaking love Lindsay. Jeez, it's unfreaking believable. What a great person.
Don't miss me when I'm gone. I'm just saying.
Shut up. That kind of attitude ain't ever gone, baby. Okay?